How about instead of bickering, we figure out our next move against the Speedster and his allies?
Legion of Doom has a sexier ring to it.
I'm not calling them that.
Is it smaller than a Quinjet?
That's classified. And yes, considerably.
It all started when we blew up the Time Pigs, the Time Masters. Now history's all screwed up, and it's up to us to unscrew it up. But half the time we screw things up even worse. So don't call us heroes. We're something else. We're legends. Who writes this crap anyway?
Negan's dancing. I brought Negan out.
Negan's out.
He's going to be on my TV tomorrow night.
Oh, he is. That's right. Because we have The Walking Dead next week.
Right.
But this week, not so much. So
it's my Funko for the week.
Welcome to the Fandom Zone, everybody. Episode 92.
That's right. So close.
Getting up there.
So close.
8 episodes before the big 100. What will we do? What will we do?
We have some ideas.
We're kicking them around.
Yeah.
So, but, welcome for the week ending February 11th, 2017.
The year that will live in infamy.
Well, 2016 was kind of that way, too, so yeah.
Yes, this is infamier.
Infamier, I like that. Yes.
It probably will be.
But yeah, Karen's rocking the cool Negan Funko figure. That's awesome.
That's right.
Now I've got here the copies of New Mutants Volume 1, number 25 and 26.
This is awesome.
The very first appearance of Legion, which we'll get into because, hey, there's a new series called Legion. It's on FX, and we're going to talk about it.
My husband has those comics, so I guess I should break them out and read them. Because, he's a Marvel dude. Apparently,
they've, skyrocketed on eBay.
Have they really?
Yeah, because apparently after the first episode, everybody's just like, This is according to Bleeding Cool, so take it for what you will, but yeah. So, yeah, supposedly. But I had a feeling this was coming because I had gotten rid of my copies because I had trade paperbacks, but because I knew that Legion was probably going to take off, I invested and got replacement copies before the episode came out.
We've had them forever.
So, yeah.
Maybe Bleeding Cool has copies themselves.
Probably. Yeah, they might have. Yeah, I'm sure they probably have their own vested interest. Because everybody's got their own vested interest these days.
That's right. And that's fantastic that we're going to talk about that. But that's the last thing we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to end on a really high note.
Hang in there. And also, pre-warning, we might be spoiling some things during that discussion. And not about the show so much, but...
about the comics.
Right. And it doesn't have a lot to do with the show. In general,
not yet, anyway.
Right. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, turn it off before Legion.
We don't even know if they're going to bring it up on the show.
Right.
So, it may not be a spoiler for the show, but it is a spoiler for the comics.
Right.
But, the comics have been, this revelation has been out since the 80s.
Right.
So,
for a long, long time.
So, not much of a spoiler.
It's something... I haven't read the comics, and it's something I've known for a long time.
Right.
So, yeah.
If you're an X-Men fan, you probably know this already.
Right.
You should, anyway.
Right.
Okay. So, what are we going to talk about today, Karen?
We're going to talk about Supergirl, Season 2, Episode 11, The Martian Chronicles.
Love that title.
The Flash.
Love that title, by the way.
I do, too. It's a Ray Bradbury book.
Exactly.
I met Ray Bradbury. Did you know that?
I did not. Sadly, I did not get the chance to meet him before he passed.
He was so nice. He lived out near us in California, in the San Jose, San Francisco area. And he came to our junior high and talked to us.
That's awesome.
The Flash.
Lucky.
I know, he's very cool. The Flash, Season 3, Episode 12, Untouchable. Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 11, Turncoat.
So much fun with this episode.
I know, right? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Season 4, Episode 13, Boom.
Boom.
That's how it was written.
And here comes the boom. Ready or not, gonna knock you out.
Nice.
Yeah.
With a little rap there.
Yeah, a little rancid.
Arrow.
I think it's rancid.
Season 5, Episode 12, Bratva.
No, it's POD. I'm sorry, it's POD.
POD?
POD that sings boom.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know the difference. And Legion, Episode 1, Season 1. And it's named Chapter 1, but I'm not sure whether that's really the name.
Apparently, that's really the name. Apparently, they're gonna, which I think is kind of boring if they're going to just go Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4.
Yeah.
But
sometimes they just say that, but it's really just Season 1, Episode 1.
That's what it is on iTunes.
Yeah.
That's what it is on, like my DVR.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
So it's Chapter 1.
It's Chapter 1 until they change it.
Until we know otherwise. Yeah.
So we're going to call it Chapter 1.
It doesn't matter what they call it, to be honest. I don't really care.
It's called Mind Explode.
Right. So Supergirl 211, The Martian Chronicles. And it doesn't have much to do with the Ray Bradbury book, but I have to say right up front, if you haven't read that book or anything by Ray Bradbury, go out and read it because he was an amazing author.
Yes, he was.
Some trippy stuff.
And you might want to read some Fahrenheit
451.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very relevant to our times right now. So
yes.
So you might want to pick that up. But
apparently, Fahrenheit 451 and 1984 and Animal Farm and a bunch of those
Brave New World.
Yeah, they're just flying off the shelves.
Yeah.
So. Catch 22.
Yeah, everybody's into the total mega dystopia right now. So
older dystopia.
Yeah, classic dystopia, if you will.
Right.
Coming up next on Masterpiece Theater, classic dystopia. But
Soylent Green is people.
Nice, very nice.
Thank you.
So before we get going on Supergirl, I want to give a shout out to Karen, who tweaked the theme once again and gave it a major upgrade with Heatwave.
Yeah, I may change the
I laugh so I know we haven't talked about Legends of Tomorrow for a while yet, but I love that opening so much.
It was the best opening.
I want the Heatwave opening every week.
Well, there we go.
So we're gonna
hear it every week.
We're gonna hear it every week, but I want it on Legends of Tomorrow every week.
I know, it would be great.
That was the best. Best.
It wouldn't be as good if it was on every week.
No, because that means everybody gets their shot at opening it,
right.
which I like about this season too, that they're doing that.
Too.
But
and I love it.
As opposed to just Rip Hunter every week.
And you know what? It's whoever is featured most on the show, and he was, the one that saved the main character.
Yeah, this is a big Heatwave showcase episode, but we're going to talk about that. Let's talk about Supergirl first.
Right. Okay. So I noticed I have Sarah, I have 2 clips from Legends of Tomorrow. Are you okay with that?
I'm totally okay with that.
Okay.
Because that's good.
They're both good.
They're both good, but that Heatwave is definitely a keeper.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I thought you would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Supergirl.
The Martian Chronicles, episode 211, written by Gabriel Llanes and Anna Muskie Goldwyn, directed by David McWhirter.
Okay.
And what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Crazy ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Instead of crazy ex-girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Mine is CW. For the Love of Mike, because,
As opposed to For the Love of Pete?
No, For the Love of Mike is a real saying, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Because Mon-El's human name is Mike.
Right.
Okay. And birthday party, spelled EARTH, birth.
Got it. So like a birth, like a...
Her Earth birthday.
Yes.
But they totally missed the opportunity to call it a birthday party.
Right.
Birthday.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Very clever, very clever. Very clever. Okay, so Crazy Ex-Boyfriend
is the Martian timeline.
Yeah, so basically, we get the introduction. We have the White Martians who we've had on before. They hate John Jones with a passion, and apparently, one of them, Armek,
right,
is gunning for Miss Martian in this episode because, hey, guess what? They were once betrothed.
Was it like that in the book?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. And I should mention that Armek in the comics is actually a member of a group known as the Hyper Clan, which is a bunch of superheroes that show up in Grant Morrison's first 4 issues of JLA back in the 90s.
That's right.
Or the 2000s. I can't remember if it's around late 90s, early 2000s, I think. Yeah. Somewhere in there. So, so they're touted as like basically they're more awesome than the Justice League until you find out, oh, guess what? In a nice little twist, they're actually White Martians and they're here to invade Earth.
Right.
Dow.
Exactly.
So I kept wondering, I was like, well, are we going to see the rest of the Hyper Clan, like Zoom with an umlaut, or what was the other one? Protix or something? I can't remember the other names, but yeah.
Yeah, there's like 7 of them or 6 of them.
Something like that, yeah. Yeah, so it's just like a Martian version of the Justice League.
Right.
Yeah. And so here, apparently they've established that Miss Martian, Magan, was once, I guess, betrothed. I don't know what you'd really call it. Because it doesn't seem like she was really enthusiastic about the marriage.
No, she said it was a it was like a arranged thing.
Yeah, it's like an arranged thing. So, kind of like the episode of Amok Time when you go to Vulcan when Spock and being betrothed to his would-be bride. So so he shows up, causing trouble. And was it to say that basically gives her an ultimatum, like surrender within 2 hours, or he's going to go after Kara and Jean. So he's kind of putting the squeeze on Magan.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's basically wanting to escape National City for her own safety until Jean stops her and convinces her to receive protection from the DEO.
Right.
So, and then we have, they end up basically, Maggie, or like eventually, inside the DEO, Armek infiltrates by posing as, Alex. Or no, was it Maggie?
When?
Well, several people, really.
First
it was Maggie, I believe, and then Maggie shows up and is like, "Hey, what's up with this?"
I thought it was Magan first.
Oh, you're right. It was Magan first.
Yeah, she's talking to them at the console, and then she shows up behind them, and she's like, "Whoops."
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Right.
And she comes down the stairs and is like, "Wait, what?"
Right.
And everybody's like, "Oh crap!
You caught me." Whoops.
Yeah. So then from that point on, it's like it basically becomes this big bottle episode inside the DEO.
Inside the DEO, yeah.
And then so we've basically got everybody in the DEO and Supergirl trying to take down Armek.
Right.
And Armek keeps impersonating other people so that they could play a White Martian, like Wynn.
Right.
Wynn finally gets to,
That was pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's that, and then Alex is impersonated at one point, I believe.
Mm-hmm. She was next.
And
there were 2 White Martians, though, right?
Right. Well, and then eventually there's this sequence where they're trying to figure out who. This is before Wynn gets found out. That there's Jean comes up with the idea that, hey, I hate fire. Martians aren't really fond of it either because apparently it exposes their when they're impersonating someone.
Right, they're true.
Right. So basically, they break out a Bunsen burner, like right out of a high school chemistry class.
Right.
And everybody stands around, and you're supposed to put your palm up to the Bunsen burner flame to reveal, like, okay, so like Miss Martian tests it to show, hey, guess what? This works. They go around the table. Jean is actually asked to prove that he's not a white Martian, but of course he has a big phobia.
He's scared, right?
Yeah, basically he's pyrophobic or whatever that's called,
right.
And because of all the trauma that he's experienced. And so
that's how they got rid of the Green
Right.
Martian.
So at first he's like not wanting to do it, but then Miss Martian kind of talks him through it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you've got this connection growing between Jean and Magan.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts his hand up, and then everything's okay. He proves who he is, even though he like immediately pulls back, and he's like, "Okay, see, I did it. Next." And then and it goes around the table until Wynn, of course, and then Wynn gets exposed. It's like he gets this big old evil smirk on his face, and he's like, "Well, I guess you got me.
You got me."
Yeah.
And he goes nuts. And then they fight him, and Supergirl goes off with Alex.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're hunting down Wynn, who is still a white Martian, they find the real Alex in like a weird cocoon. And they realize that there's a second white Martian, and they're inside Alex.
Yeah, apparently they decide, well, we got...
Dun.
Yeah, dun-dun. That should be our dramatic sting music.
Sorry. I have it.
There you go.
I can never find that one on the thing.
That was not even our Ferris Bueller dramatic sting music. There you go. I forget we have like 2 dramatic stings.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. So yeah, there's that. And then, I was going to say, totally.
And they fight a lot.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the good guys win.
Yeah, good guys win. It's all good. I'm trying to think what else. So Magan ends up going back at the end of the episode
to atone,
or at least basically kind of keep an eye on the White Martians, what they're doing, which I think is a big mistake because it's like, hey, you're horribly outnumbered,
right?
And John, at this point, I think Jean and Magan are kind of ready to say that they love each other.
Really?
Yeah, I'm getting this vibe here that yeah.
Well, I think they're friends at the very least, good friends.
I think it could be more.
Well, it could be.
Yeah.
I think it's silly for her to go because, for one thing, they don't have to write her off the show.
Right.
She doesn't have to be on every episode.
No.
She's a side character. They don't have to mention her if they don't want to. I mean, I'm not going to notice if... Do you think the rest of the audience would notice if they don't mention her on every single episode?
No, I don't think so.
So they don't have to write her off.
Right, I know this. Right? I realize this.
I'm just asking.
But I think they have to justify as like, well, okay, when there's a problem, why isn't Magan being called in?
I see.
So basically they write her out this way so they don't have to explain every week about why she's not there.
Well, she can be just doing her own thing and not having to.
Well, the same lame excuses that we were doing for Superman when he's not involved in stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that he's saving people.
Oh, I'm off in the Fandom zone this week, or blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the moon, or...
Well, she's technically not obligated to help them at all.
No, I know this. I know this.
Yeah. I know you know that.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So she's trying to inspire the rest of her race to fight back. And so she
takes the bad guy's ship and goes back.
Yeah.
Dumb.
But she also tells Jean that she loves him too before she enters the spacecraft and leaves.
Yeah.
So hey, guess what? I have feelings for you. Oh, bye. See ya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So talk about a long distance relationship.
Right. And then the next thing I thought we'd talk about is Alex and
well, I thought we were talking
and Kara.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about For the Love of Mike.
We don't have to talk about that next.
Okay, we can talk about you want to talk about the birthday party?
Yeah. Well, because it ties in with this.
Okay.
When Alex was being taken over by the White Martian, they still get this weird connection. And she and Kara had this conversation about Kara still being a little jealous of Alex going out with Maggie on her Earth birthday.
Right.
Because she had made all these plans for her Earth birthday, and then Maggie had...
They spend it every year together, so it's like a tradition.
Right.
And then the first time they're like, oh, guess what? I've got my new girlfriend, so can we reschedule Earth birthday?
Concert tickets.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because I really got to go see the Bare Naked Ladies.
Right.
Because apparently I have the worst taste in music.
Hey, Bare Naked, don't you?
So what's next? The Crash Test Dummies, or
no, those are bad.
Or or Spin Doctors.
BNL, come on, BNL.
Doing Jimmy Olsen's Blues, get it?
Don't hate on BNL. Bare Naked Ladies is okay. I'll forgive them for that.
Granted, they're better than Smash Mouth.
Oh my God! If they went to Smash Mouth or Nickelback, I would have to shoot them.
Yeah.
But Bare Naked Ladies is cool, and Alex, every time she was with Maggie talking about going or whatever, she would be all distracted and upset. And Maggie finally said, "Go talk to Kara about it." And
who even knew the Bare Naked Ladies were still touring?
Right, I had no idea.
Yeah. I really actually was going to look that up. I was like, are these really still touring?
Yeah.
But
well, in Canada, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Who knew?
They're Canadian.
Oh, is that it? I didn't know they were Canadian.
They are.
Okay. Learn something new every day.
I think they're from Toronto. But yeah, so yeah, that she had these memories of the conversation they had, and of course that sparked them to actually talk when she was back in her own body. And
then Alex felt kind of guilty.
Right.
So she shows up at Kara's door at the end of the episode with like, hey, I got this humongous cupcake or whatever cake.
Right. And she does that thing again where she just makes a noise outside the door so Kara will look outside the door with her X-ray vision, which is cute.
Yeah.
I love when they do that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Guess what? You have cancer because all the times that Kara looks through you with X-ray vision. And you don't have like lead protection. Don't.
Whoops. Sorry.
X-rays are radioactive. I hate to break it to you.
Well, but is it X-rays or is it just her?
Well, when you go to the dentist, they put a lead thing over you because they're taking X-rays.
Is it the same kind of ray?
I would think so. X-rays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So if you did enough of that. I've seen like a number of Superman parodies where like, hey, so and so got cancer because of all the X-ray vision. Yeah.
Jimmy or
Lois or something.
Lois.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah, I don't think Supergirl's gonna go there.
No.
With that storyline, but it was cute. She brings her a cupcake that has a K on it.
Yeah.
They have a little talk, and it's cute. Yeah. And then, of course, there's For the Love of Mike, where
Mon-El.
Yeah, after last week's episode, where Mon-El confessed that he had feelings for her, but he understands that she doesn't have feelings back.
Yeah, Mon-El is in the super friend zone. See what I did there?
I do see what you did there.
Meanwhile, in the super friend zone.
And he left her apartment before she could say anything because she was kind of dumbstruck, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And
not quite sure what she was going to do. She needed to regroup. So she goes to the bar, and she still doesn't really do anything. But she notices that, Mon-El's not drinking and stuff like that he's changed a little bit. I'm sorry for taking over. Are you?
No. You're good. You're good. So if Kara is not hung up on Mon-El, and she's not really like chasing after Jimmy anymore,
I think she is hung up on Mon-El, though. Because at the end...
Is she just in denial over it?
No, I think she's not in denial anymore. Okay. At the end of the episode, Mike comes by the paper as Mike and is going out on a date with Miss Tessmacher.
Miss Tessmacher!
And
we need that as a sound clip.
Yeah.
Luther going, Miss Tessmacher!
From the movie?
From the movie, yeah. That would be great.
And she's jealous. I mean, she smiles at him, but when she turns around, she's jealous.
Yeah, it's like... And Mon-El is just giving her the old, hey, babe, you had your shot.
You could have had me.
You could have had all this. As he's gesturing to himself, because obviously you can't see that here on the radio or the podcast. But
he didn't do that though.
You could have had all this, baby.
Yeah, he said we're just friends, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes out with her, and that's not going to go anywhere.
Yep.
But Kara's now going to be all like,
because I've heard that Earth girls are easy.
No. Jeff Goldblum.
Yep. Julie Brown.
The worst. That movie is terrible.
It is pretty bad.
Ugh, I hate it. Okay, so that's.
I only mentioned it because it worked with the joke.
I know.
Okay. Moving on.
I think that's it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot to this one. Like I said, it was a bottle episode. We also had Jimmy. I guess that Wynn is now up for helping James fight crime as the Guardian.
Right.
So he's up for that again, apparently.
And
although Carrie's still a little bit pissy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She hasn't gotten over that yet, which is get over it already.
Right.
Yeah.
She softened a little though, I think, in this episode.
Well, they had her showing that she was feeling some regrets of the distance that she caused.
Yeah.
So
of how harshly she
reacted and tried to boss everybody about how to be a superhero. Only I'm the expert.
But that she can't really nurture that instinct of Jimmy's.
Yeah, I think that's all I have about this, unless you had anything else.
Okay. Entertainment Weekly, though, mentioned that they don't have a name for the bar yet.
Okay.
There's no name for that bar.
The bar with no name, but...
Right.
Yeah.
So they're going to call it the Snake Hole Lounge from Parks and Rec. That's what the bar was on Parks and Rec.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
That's a big thing on.
That's funny. Okay. All right. So, what was your rating for this episode?
I give it 8 butane torches.
Yeah. It was an all right episode, but nothing special. We're totally in sync on this one. I give it 8 Bare Naked Ladies CDs.
Nice.
So.
That you don't own.
That I don't own. No. 1 week.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
Yeah.
There's some good songs, by the way.
All right. Okay,
so
moving on.
To the Flash.
On to the Flash, episode 12 of the 3rd season, Untouchable.
You send one of ours to jail, we send one of yours to the morgue. I don't know what.
That was a very interesting Sean Connery impression.
It wasn't Sean Connery.
Yeah, that's...
I know he says that, but I wasn't trying to do a Sean Connery impression.
They said one of yours to that. Yeah, you do that. Yeah.
I was just saying the line.
Sean Connery. Yes, it's Sean Connery.
I don't have a Sean Connery impression, so.
They sent one of yours to the morgue.
There you go. That's better.
Thank you.
I know I can't do it, so I just said it.
Yeah.
It's some sort of weird.
Goldfinger. Oh wait, wrong movie.
Yeah, Goldfinger.
Junior. But that's another wrong movie. Sorry. Sorry, everyone.
Okay, so The Flash.
The Flash, Untouchable, written by Brooke Roberts and Judalina Nera, directed by Rob Hardy.
Okay.
What's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Till Death Do Us Disintegrate.
Nice.
Phase 2.
Phase 2. Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's a couple of C stories. Truth Be Told.
Right.
Guilt Trip, and that's Julian.
Yep.
she's not shaking his confidence. Okay, Cecilia.
Yeah.
You're breaking my heart.
Yeah.
You're shaking my confidence daily.
Nice.
Cecile.
Yep.
And then a quick peek at next week.
Right. So basically we have stories A, B, C, D, and E.
Yeah. But those last ones are just mentions of the...
Right.
Truth be told, they told Joe about...
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get into that.
Well, I'm mentioning them because there's not
a
much
whole lot to them.
Right. So they told Joe.
We're going to just knock those out.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead.
They told Joe that Iris was the one that they had the future view that they were going to die.
And surprise, Joe gets pissed because hey, that like, why didn't you tell me this?
Right.
And then he ends up like telling them at the end of the episode, like, okay, no more secrets for realsies this time.
Exactly.
Because I know we've talked about this before, and you still keep keeping secrets from me.
Right.
But
it was for your protection. Shut up about that.
But I mean it this time.
Right. Now, Guilt Trip is Julian, who takes out a bunch of stuff on Caitlin because he feels guilty about all the things that are happening because, of course, he made it happen.
Yeah, it turns out that the freak of the week is actually this guy that was Julian's responsible for his Dr. Alchemy.
Right.
By kind of
giving him powers.
Yeah, giving him powers and helping him remember himself in Flashpoint.
Right.
So Flashpoint's still in play here.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, there's a great scene where Julian's like, okay, you guys do your thing. I'm going to go off and like try to find the last husk metahuman because, I'm a bit bugged about this. But then Caitlin says, oh, hey, you want to go out for a drink?
Right.
Because Caitlin is always hot for supervillains, apparently. That's her thing.
Right. And I guess we'll talk a little bit about what's going on with her.
Yeah. Yeah,
Why does her power mean that she has to turn bad?
I think it's just that she goes a little Dark Phoenix and can't control, like it just kind of overwhelms her. Or maybe there's like another personality going on there.
Okay. All right, Cecilia. It's Cecile, I know.
Yeah. Cecile, you're breaking my heart.
Right, but she's not, actually. They have a good relationship.
Yeah. We get the introduction of her daughter in this episode.
Mm-hmm. They have dinner together, and her daughter is apparently a little...
huge Kid Flash fan. So, of course, Wally's there going, hey, you like Kid Flash, right?
Tell me what you like about him.
Hey, baby.
Yeah. Which was kind of funny.
Yeah, tell me more.
And then I liked what Joe did. He was like, hey, so do you know that Barry knows Kid Flash?
Yeah, he's totally like talking.
He's egging on Wally.
Well, he's also getting like twisted. Like, hey, what about Barry? Barry's the guy who knows, who really knows the Flash and knows Kid Flash.
Right.
And Wally's just like, come on, man.
I'm right here, dude. Yeah.
Don't block me, Dad.
Right. And I thought that was funny. And they had a nice dinner until, of course, the bad guy broke in and threatened.
That kind of makes things a little awkward.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're having a progression in their relationship, which I liked. And then a quick peek at next week was the very end when Jesse comes through a portal.
Yes, Jesse Quick is back.
Yep. Right, and warns
Wally.
Wally, yes.
Yeah. So basically she comes through a portal and then she's like, my father was abducted by Grodd and taken to Gorilla City. So next episode is a big win because, hey, it's Grodd. And in Grodd we trust.
So that happens.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Gorilla City.
Those were the little things that happened, but the main thing, of course, was Till Death Do Us Disintegrate.
Right. So
then phase 2, which is how they end up getting out of everything. So
the big bad of the week is none other than Clive Yorkin, played by Matthew Kevin Anderson. And once again, the Flash writers are deep diving into Flash lore, because Clive Yorkin, for those who don't know, was the one was a kind of a really deranged serial killer type character that was presumed to have killed Iris West in the Flash Volume 1, Issue 275. But ultimately, the storyline revealed that it was none other than the Reverse Flash that killed Iris West. But for the longest time,
he was.
Yeah, so for the longest time, Barry thought that Yorkin was the one who killed her, and all the evidence seemed to go that way. But until that revelation that, oh, guess what? It was the Reverse Flash all along.
And he was set up.
Yep, and so Yorkin ends up getting, he's a part of this prison experiment or whatever, and ends up with this ability to kind of suck the life force out of people. So they've kind of tweaked this here, so that he kind of decays things. Mm-hmm. That's his power in this continuity. Unfortunately, he's not nearly as mindless as he was in the comics, so he's not nearly as intimidating or scary. But
right.
Unfortunately, one of the people he takes out in this episode is none other than Alex Desert as Julio Mendez, who ends up he's leaving this concert venue after a show. He's a musician and then a singer or something, and then he gets approached by Yorkin, who offers to shake his hands, and then he ends up decomposing. And so they killed off Julio Mendez.
I know.
So if you're a classic Flash TV show fan, as I am, you were a bit bummed about this. It's like he didn't even get to reunite with John Wesley Shipp on screen, so that sucked.
Yeah.
It's like, why'd you kill him off if you're not going to have them at least show up in an episode together?
Right.
Dumb.
Really quick.
You didn't even get to see Amanda Pays.
Nope. Nothing.
You're killing me, Flash writers.
This
really.
is a tiny little...
Yeah. Didn't need it. Unnecessary death. So, Yorkin, so they basically, there's one great sequence in this episode where Yorkin... well, I should say two things, because first, he ends up confronting, he goes into Iris's apartment, and he dissolves her door, so later Barry has to repair the door.
Right.
And he puts triple locks on the thing, which I thought was funny.
Which won't help if someone...
No, it's not against a rogue or something.
Right.
At all. So Iris sets off for a panic alarm, which that panic alarm app is actually pretty handy. It makes a lot of sense.
It is.
So kudos to the Flash writers for coming up with that.
Mm-hmm.
But so
they used it twice in this episode.
They did. So Kid Flash shows off to rescue Iris, but he's too slow, and Yorkin ends up touching Iris's arm, so her arm gets all infected.
Right.
So then they have to take her to Star Labs, of course, and then they come up with the idea that, hey, Caitlin, why don't you turn into Killer Frost and flash freeze? See what I did there?
Flash freeze.
Freeze her arm so that the infection doesn't spread.
Right.
Keep her on ice.
Well, don't turn into Killer Frost.
Right.
Just do the Frost thing.
Do the Frosty thing, yeah.
They don't want her to be Killer Frost.
No, but...
as far as I know.
But of course, Caitlin's all worried that she's going to turn into Killer Frost.
And she kind of heads in that direction until...
I still think they're going to pull a switch and, she's going to turn out to be a hero as Killer Frost, but then Vibe's going to go evil.
You think?
Well, they had that, premonition, remember? That Vibe was going to battling Killer Frost.
Right.
But
so
I
you think it's going to be
the reverse. Yeah,
I
think that Killer Frost is going to be the hero in that battle, and Vibe is going to be Darkseid.
Nice. That'll be interesting.
Yep. We'll see what happens, but that's my theory on that one. As you know, I have all kinds of Flash theories.
I know.
Far too many, I'm sure.
Oh, and someone clapped in this episode.
Yes, they did, didn't they?
Yep. A little bit of applause there at the end of the episode.
Speaking of my HR is abracadabra theory.
Yep.
So, which you're on board with.
I'm watching that like a hawk.
And of course, he's still waving that drumstick around.
Waving the drumstick.
Like
two of them.
Yep.
and he was all in on the betting and my guy's gonna win and
yep.
So abracadabra.
Yep. So exactly. So the other really cool sequence with Yorkin was that he ends up disintegrating these support beams. That there's a train, a train full of passengers, and in this really cool sequence, Barry and Wally show up, and they realize that there's like a bunch of rubble on the train tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So got to save the train passengers, right? How do you do that? Because you're not as strong as Superman.
Right.
So Barry comes up with the bright idea that I'm going to vibrate this train, dude.
Right. And especially since they've been training so that
Wally can learn how to right. That's our phase 2.
Right.
Yep.
And it's a big deal because Barry isn't sure that he can do it. He's never done anything like this before.
Yeah, this is pretty big. This is pretty upgrade for Barry, power-wise.
Right. Joe is on the train, so he feels like he really has to save the train. I mean, he would try to do that anyway.
Yeah, this is remember, this is the second train he's had to save. But
I know, right? So he tries to vibrate the train, and he manages to do it and get it through, and everybody goes nuts, right? Because he saves the train.
Woo, woo, woo.
And then, of course, he turns it around because Wally has to. He's completely wiped out from doing his whole.
So Wally, you gotta help. Yeah,
so you gotta help.
I'm tagging Wally in.
Right, and Wally's like, I don't know if I can do it. I haven't done it before. And he said, well, you just saw me do something that I've never done before, so I have faith in you. And that kind of bolsters Wally to be able to phase and take. He phases
through Yorkin.
Right. Because they decided that their blood has the regenerative quality, and it will counteract Yorkin's blood that does the degenerative stuff.
Yeah, and apparently it short circuits his ability to decay.
Right. So he phases through him with this serum that they have made up of their blood.
Right.
And leaves it in his body, and whoops, you can't degenerate anybody anymore.
Sucker.
Right, and Wally's all happy about it. He's like, can you not do that anymore? Oh, what a shame.
You lost your powers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I like that they made it into kind of a little experiment of berries that turned out to be like this huge deal. You know, I've never done it before, and he ends up making it work because it has to work.
Right.
And then he turns around and he says, well, even though you haven't been able to do it, that's how things go. Because that's literally how he has done everything that he's done. Is it when it came down to
right, you have I have to do it. I'm pressured to do it. So necessity is the mother of invention.
Right. And that's how it's been for like 90% of his abilities.
Yeah.
Is he's had to do it, so he's done it. And that's kind of the wisdom he imparts to Wally. And Wally hasn't had to do that yet.
No.
So I think he
hasn't felt that pressure.
Right. It's a big turning point for him.
Yeah.
Where he realizes, I have to be able to do things on the spot like that.
And it was pretty cool to see Barry vibrate that train through the
rubble. It was awesome looking. Yep. Mm-hmm. It was great.
Very cool sequence.
Yeah, I liked it.
All right. So anything else?
And then they save Iris.
Right. Yeah. Basically, they come up with, that they figured out how to make counteract the effects of the infection, and then everything's
altered.
Yeah.
With an altered serum, and yeah.
Julian did it. But as I posted on Twitter, it's like, well, at least Iris didn't do like a big high five and snap her arm off.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Hey, Iris, like high five, snap. Oh,
whoops.
Yeah, forget your arm was frozen there. So, yep, a little awkward.
That would have been bad. It was a decent episode, I thought.
I liked it a lot. I just thought it kind of fired on all the cylinders for once. It's been a while since I've really had all the team engaged and, like people doing smarter things.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing dumb things.
They were written well.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
Yep. And you had some great Barry and Iris moments.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
So
I love the Joe part. It kind of choked me up a little when he was talking about, losing someone. The only thing I had about it was all the storylines. And that bothers me sometimes when there's just so much going on in an episode. So that's why I didn't give it as high a rating as you, is just, so many things. They're trying to shove a lot of stuff in. But it was okay. I mean,
no, that's fine. Yeah. And I just thought it was a really good balance for me. So it's just your personal taste, I think.
Right. The Cecile stuff could have been kept in an episode with a little less stuff in it.
Right.
So that's all.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that got lost, and I think that could be important at some point.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's. We'll see. I'm guessing that they're going to try and hook up Wally with Cecile's daughter.
I'm guessing.
So let's just keep it all in the family, guys. Ew.
Yeah. Well, stepbrother romances are big.
Yeah. I'm sure that Tumblr's all over this.
It's a huge genre in romance books.
I'm sure it is.
Step-sibling.
And it's also porn videos too.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Stepbrothers, stepsister, ew, yeah.
Okay. I don't want to watch it. I don't mind reading it because they're not really related.
I'm just saying it's out there. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but yeah.
Okay.
It's out there.
I'm not judgy.
You're not judgy. It's out there. It's out there.
Good.
Okay.
I'm cool with porn.
All right. So what's your rating for this?
I gave it 8
Now that
IOUs.
we've made things really, really awkward.
I give it 8 IOUs because apparently HR doesn't have the money to pay them back on the bet that he doubled down on that Wally was going to be.
Kind of welching on the bet there.
Very, yeah. Yeah, and you, Mr.
Yeah, because there was that great sequence with. Oh, I see what you did there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the race at the beginning.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about the race because that was pretty cool. And Barry is apparently still winner and champion as the fastest man alive.
Well, except for Savitar.
Or is he? Because if he's future Barry Allen.
Well, yeah.
I hope not.
Then
I really hope he's not future Barry Allen.
I do too. I agree with you. So what did you give it?
So I really enjoyed this episode. Like I said, I thought it was a nice balance. I gave it 9 Flash frozen arms.
Awesome. If they would have given us more of everything else and taken out the Cecile part, I would have given it a 9.
Fair enough. You just thought it was just a little too much. Just
a little.
A little too much.
Yeah.
But it gave Joe something to do in this episode besides go all ranty that, like you guys are lying. You're lying to me again.
Right. You know how much I hate that lying thing.
Yeah. But it was funny. It was funny to have Joe like kind of riding Wally a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm. It was.
Take him down a peg.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep his ego in check.
How long did he collude in keeping Barry from Iris for some?
Who knows?
Dude.
Yes. All right.
Karma.
I'm trying to be optimistic here.
Yeah. Okay.
Moving
Legends
on.
of Tomorrow 211 Turncoat.
Written by Granny Godfrey, who, as I always say, reminds me of Granny Goodness.
Yeah.
And Matthew Mala, directed by Alice Troughton, which, if you're a Doctor Who fan...
Daughter?
Yeah, she's the one who directed The Doctor's Daughter, the David Tennant episode where he met his future wife in real life, the daughter of the 5th Doctor. So, and then knocked her up. Because, yeah. Well, so, and then she also directed the episode Midnight, and she's also directed some episodes of Torchwood and the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Excellent.
So, because Troughtons are always awesome on Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm. Patrick.
Yep, Patrick especially. Mm-hmm. But also David and Michael, I believe. His sons, who have appeared on.
They do that too. Huh?
Yeah, yep. They've guest starred on Doctor Who, yep. All right, so enough Doctor Who stuff, sorry.
It's okay.
It's where my brain goes. I apologize. So, what's our A, B, and C, Karen?
It's not worth a blame. Doctor Who's good.
Okay.
Okay. A, B, and C story, and I have a couple of C's, but they're not big C's.
Okay.
Big C's.
Big C's, little C's.
A story is the big ripoff.
You mean capital C's? Oh.
No. The big ripoff.
Yep.
B story is EMP.
I see what you did there.
And / Home Alone, because that's kind of one story. Jax is Home Alone.
I see what you did there with that.
Okay.
Very clever. Very clever. I like that.
And then the C stories are tiny little parts. So many steel jokes.
Yes. For old Citizen Steel and Vixen.
Right. I was going to say
we better be hearing that porn music during that segment.
Yeah. 3 lives. How many does she have left?
Yeah.
So far, there's been 3. Hold on, my tablet died. I might have to restart my tablet.
Okay. That's all right. And then best intro ever.
Best intro ever, which is definitely true.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about the A story, the big ripoff.
That's right.
Which, of course, is evil Rip, Dark Rip, Hunter, who's been... his brain has been tweaked by the Legion of Doom when his memories were restored, if you recall. And he goes back to 1776 and ends up killing none other than George Washington. Yes, that George Washington, also known as 1, because, if presidents can be called 44 and 45,
that's right.
They can be called 1, right? So
that's right.
So yeah. So we get to meet 1, and but he ends up getting killed, and that of course creates this big time quake where huge time quake. And then that obviously is felt by the legend. So they end up going back to Christmas Eve, 1776, so we can have kind of a Christmas episode in
February.
Yeah.
Right.
A little late on that one.
Were we supposed to get that in December?
I don't know. I don't think it was reshuffled because of the way the storylines progressed.
Now, they did make a point to say...
I don't think they shot this out of order.
They made a point to say, sometimes I don't remember what day it is, and we get confused.
I think it was just, because they're traveling around the time stream, they don't really follow a straight calendar.
Right.
So maybe they figured, well, hey, we're back in Christmas. Let's celebrate Christmas, because we never get to celebrate Christmas.
So was it like a wink to that?
I think so. Talking? That's what I'm guessing. I'm going to explain it. But so they go back. Basically, Rip's they try to protect Washington from being killed, and while Sarah and Mick, so of course you got Heatwave, involved, and they're trying to protect Washington. Rip turns up with the Redcoats, who, surprise, now have modern day assault rifles, because obviously they're NRA members and they can get assault rifles really, really easy.
Right.
Even though they really don't need them, but hey.
They're expecting Rip to know them and to be their Rip, but Rip apparently, we know that he was modified when they put his memories back in.
They didn't know that.
Right.
So they're a little thrown by this.
And, of course, our guys are calling them the Legion of Doom, and they keep referring to them as the Legion.
Right.
And Rip right back says Legion. He doesn't know that they're being called the Legion of Doom by our guys.
No, that was kind of a little error on somebody's part.
A bit of a hand wave.
Yeah,
there.
Pretty much. Yeah, little inconsistency.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought so. But...
unless somehow they overheard the term Legion of Doom and just liked it. Maybe there's a deleted scene out there somewhere where they're like, hey, let somebody like Citizen Steel call us Legion of Doom. That's kind of catchy. I kind of like that.
Right. Or Mick or whatever.
Yeah, something like that.
I could see Mick saying it.
Yeah. The Legion of Doom.
What, are you part of the Legion of Doom now?
You do the best, Heatwave.
It's not good, but yeah.
It's the best.
It's meant to be bad.
I think it's perfect.
Who writes these anyway?
Who writes this garbage anyway?
Right. Who writes this crap? It's crap.
Crap, you're right. It is crap.
Seriously, you idiots haven't figured this out by now?
Mick is us. Mick is all of us.
Yes, yes.
We are Heatwave. We are all Heatwave.
I love it.
All right, so and that kind of leads us into unempowered a little bit because Rip, while they're like the team's unable to fight back, Rip sets off this device that turns off Heatwave's gun, his heat gun, and then shuts off Ray's atom suit as he's micro-sized, atom-sized. Right. So basically, he's running around and getting chased by rats and stuff.
Hey, I'm down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like maybe you ought to build a backup on that thing, so you don't get stuck. So and then it shuts down the Wave Rider and prevents Jax and Professor Stein from becoming Firestorm.
Their little chest thingy.
Because everything seems to prevent Jax and Stein from becoming Firestorm.
And you know why?
Because it saves the budget.
Yes,
yes, it does.
Exactly.
So, and then Rip ends up shooting Sarah in the chest. Ow.
Right, because 2 lives.
Yeah.
I died before. I don't recommend it. She says it's right before they go outside, and then, whoops.
I always use the line because, with my little close call with death, I always say, like, I've been dead before. It was very liberating.
Nice.
Yeah, that's my personal favorite. So they end up Mick. I guess they end up taking Mick takes Washington back to the Redcoats camp. Or no, I'm sorry. Rip takes Mick and Washington. That's right. Back to the Redcoats camp as prisoners.
Right.
So they're now captives.
And Mick is pretty lackadaisical.
Yep.
Well, George is really he's strategic.
Yeah.
For one thing. And then he tries to offer himself in exchange for Mick.
Right.
And Mick's not having it, for one thing. He says, I have to save you. I'm here for you. And he gives George this really, really patriotic speech.
About how to be an American.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, heat waves like up in there. You could picture this flag waving behind him. Heat wave of all people.
Right, but it is kind of his edict.
That's not how Americans are.
And if you've ever seen the show, the Broadway show or the movie 1776, George Washington wrote a letter to the Continental Congress. No, the Continental Congress.
I thought you were talking about the love letter in this episode.
Oh, no. He writes a letter to the Continental Congress in 1776. It's an actual letter that he wrote that pretty much talks about how the troops are really unorganized and they're terrible and they're the worst fighters ever. But when they were threatened and when the British came to fight, they all got together and they fought, and it was like seeing a team fight out on the battlefield. And I felt like saying, did he get that from Mick? Because it sounded just like Mick talking in there. And
so basically we have America, America has Mick Rory, Heatwave, to thank for America.
Right.
Heatwave created America, everybody.
Yeah, right?
Deal with it.
It really sounded like that speech. He was, talking about how horrible our troops were and that they were a ragtag band of...
Basically he inspires it. Well, yeah, and he talks about, exactly, that you can't just march in there and fight the Redcoats. You have to go guerrilla style, and you have to, you kind of fight them dirty, and you got to, you got to fight with everything in you. You can't just, let them you follow traditional warfare. You have to be sneaky. Mm-hmm. Because, of course, Heatwave is sneaky.
Exactly.
And so later in the episode, George Washington gives Mick a love letter to Washington's wife, and that letter ends up turning out to be, guess what? Battle plans.
Right.
So that was just a battle strategy for his soldiers.
And Mick was pretty impressed by that.
Yep. He's like, mad respect, yo.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. He didn't say that.
Yeah, but basically, so we've got Heatwave and Washington becoming America bros.
Right.
Over this, which is pretty funny.
They did.
Yep. So that was pretty good. This was a great Heatwave showcase episode.
It was. I loved his speech. I really, really did. And
although Heatwave's still kind of a dick for telling Stein's daughter that she was a.
It was terrible of him, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this goes a long way to making that up a little bit, but still, dick move, Heatwave.
Mm-hmm. It was.
That was a dick move. All right, so we talked about unempowered. So Home Alone is where Jax gets put in charge by Sarah before she falls unconscious.
Right.
You're in charge. Thud. I'm out. And I'm out. And then Stein's working on removing the bullet from Sarah, but so Jax gets like Ray, who's stuck in his miniaturized form, tries to bring back power to the Wave Rider because otherwise he can't save Sarah without the Wave Rider power. And Jack's trying to fight off Rip on his own,
mm-hmm.
and Rip's trying to recover the Spear of Destiny, but Rip ends up getting the better of Jax, and he's like basically saying, "Look, if you want Sarah to die, or if you don't want Sarah to die, you better tell me where that spear fragment is."
Mm-hmm.
So Jax reluctantly tells him where it is, but then kills Sarah anyway.
Right.
Because, hey, I'm evil. Lying.
Right.
And then, of course, but then Ray gets power back to the Wave Rider, and that allows Professor Stein to bring Sarah back from the dead.
Right.
Again. Didn't need a Lazarus pit this time.
Mm-hmm. It was just Gideon.
Yeah, So that happened, and then we'll talk about so many steel jokes.
Yeah.
So this is where we need to play the porn music.
Yeah. There you go. There, I hit it.
Oh, yeah.
I was waiting for it. I restarted the thing, so it may take a second.
That's okay, no problem. Yeah, because here we have Nate and Amaya. They're looking for they're trying to track the Redcoats camp, and then they end up getting ambushed. Nate gets sent into a river. So Vixen saves Nate from the river and from hypothermia.
That's right.
And then while waiting for their clothes to dry, let's get it on.
Well,
let's get it on.
They sleep in the tent.
Yeah. It's like, hey,
of course
I'm freezing. Maybe, bring your 98.6 body over here.
Right.
And warm me up.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're like, you're undressed, I'm undressed. We've got a few minutes to kill.
It's warm under the covers.
Yeah.
Well, she was out by the fire after that.
Let's have some revolutionary sex.
He wakes up and he looks really cute with that little scruff, by the way. I don't think he looks cute otherwise. I mean, he's okay.
But you thought he was like it looked good there.
He was really cute.
Were we getting a little cougar action?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
And she comes in wearing, a blanket, I guess.
Yep.
And
she gives the old coquettish look.
Yeah. And he's like, it's warm under the covers.
Oh, yeah. Sweet Christmas.
And she says, well, I guess from what's been happening, going under the covers would be pretty tame. And he's like, it sure would. And then that happens. And more. And then she gets to see parts of him that are steelier than others. If you will.
Polishing the steel, are we?
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah, this is what you're saying. So, and then of course, and then the episode turns into an episode of Futurama where Citizen Steel becomes his own grandfather.
Hey, you know what?
See what he did there? Think about it. He could become, if she impregnates her, she's from the 1940s.
Right.
He could be his own grandfather.
He certainly could. Holy crap.
It's Futurama, dude. That's what Fry did.
Yeah, it is what Fry did.
I was thinking about that when I was watching the episode. I was like, oh my God, it's the Futurama episode where Fry becomes his own grandfather.
He had to do that, though, on Futurama, or else it wouldn't exist.
Yep. But still,
that's fun.
Isn't that funny?
Yes. I'm my own grandpa.
Now, if you ever watch this episode again, exactly.
I won't be able to not think about
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty much it, though.
Yeah, I think that's about it. So, but yeah, I thought this was a great episode. So what was your rating on this episode?
8 ruby slippers. I'm going to give it 8.5 ruby slippers just for the intro. Yeah. An extra 0.5 just for the Mick intro.
Yeah, that was gold. I just from the start with that heat wave intro, I just loved this episode. I thought everything. I mean, because you had all this great interaction. Rip's evil, and there's a lot of comedic moments. And heat wave, of course, just it's a big heat wave episode. That's a big upgrade. I give this one 9 Christmas cracker hats.
Nice.
For those not familiar with the term, you Yanks. Christmas crackers are these things in the UK, which I was kind of surprised they used on Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, me too. Although Rip, I'm sure, has them on board because he's English.
But how would everybody else know what they were?
They may have had another Christmas.
Maybe. But
I know.
So I know about them from Doctor Who. But so basically, these things they're kind of like these little wrapped up things that you pull them apart, and there's like paper hats and prizes and stuff inside.
Little toys.
They pop, so it's
like little soldiers and
So little kiddie toys and stuff.
Yeah.
So and then people take the paper hats out and they put them on, and you're celebrating Christmas.
Right.
So that's what they did here. They put on the Christmas cracker hats. Yep.
They sure did.
Yep.
They did.
Yep. Oh, and then I forgot that Vixen tells Nate that, guess what? It's better that we don't have this relationship when we're working together.
That's right.
So,
yeah, and he played it off because he.
So now he's in the super friend zone.
Yeah, he had said before. By the way,
meanwhile in the super friend zone,
that they were talking while they were walking around outside. That relationships are. He was explaining Tinder to her, the swiping right and left and all that, and he said that things were very casual in his time, whereas they aren't in her time. And then she kind of turned that around on him at the end, where she's like, we're casual, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. And he turns around and he's like, oh, man, this sucks, man.
But that was before we had the sex, and it was great.
The sexing was good, man. Yeah.
That was funny. All right. So let's move on to the Marvel Universe with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Boom! Here comes the boom! Ready or not, gonna knock you out.
All right. Written and directed by
Nora Zuckerman and Lila Zuckerman. Directed by Billy Gearhart. What's our A, B, and C, Karen?
Ada's Family Tree.
Okay.
Explosive Shock.
Right.
Lee.
Yeah.
And Newish Kid on the Block. Walker. That's the guy that he's trying to find out where he is on the team, and he ends up being the blocker.
Got it.
Do you? It's Mace.
Yeah, because he's like, he injects himself with the stuff. Yes, I'm the blocker. Yes,
right.
Yes, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It took me a little bit, but I got there. Yeah.
All right.
I know what you got. Okay.
And I said new-ish because
Yeah.
He's new this season, but he's not really new.
Yeah, that's true. I see what you did there. Okay, so Ada's family tree, we find out that, guess what? Ada's based on a real person, because of course she is.
Right.
She's this woman named...
You expected that, though, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did. So, this woman named Agnes Kitsworth...
Right.
Who they end up... Coulson and Mac end up tracking her down in Spain, and... Agnes reveals that Radcliffe, guess what, is her former boyfriend. And he left in a really dick move after she was diagnosed with terminal cancer.
Right.
Not cool, Radcliffe.
No, not even close to cool.
That's as far, like, there's cool, and then you are the place where it is farthest from.
Yeah.
That's where you are.
That is a dick move. Pardon my French, but that is a dick move.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
You're an asshole.
I thought you were going to... Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago. Nice. That's where I thought you were going to go. All three of them. That's where I thought you were going to go with the dinner music, but that's awesome.
Well, they're all three.
They're all there. They're all there.
Paris.
Yeah. So Abe Froman,
yeah.
But okay. So they find out that they try to get Agnes to help them lure Radcliffe in so they can capture him, of course. So
and she says, "No,
yeah,
thank you. I'll pass."
Yeah, but they basically kind of pressure her into doing this.
Well, I like how Coulson does it, actually. He says, well, I wouldn't ask you, but here's why. He's taken someone from me that I care about, and I don't want him to do it to other people.
Right.
And so he's done something bad to you. He's done something bad to me. Let's stop this in its tracks.
Right.
And that's kind of what he does.
And she kind of goes along with it at first.
Yeah.
But, so she gets all wired up. She gets a headset or earpiece or whatever. And then she gets a hold of Radcliffe. They agree to meet somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is that he doesn't really show up where he's supposed to. Right. But he tells her, hey, look, I'm in this car down the road. Why don't you come there?
Mm-hmm.
And Radcliffe tells her that, well, instead... What?
He knows that the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are behind it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, which is why he didn't agree.
He does it.
Yeah. So he's smart.
Yeah, but he's still Jerky McJerkerson.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fitz, you got a bad role model there.
He sure does.
So, yeah, Radcliffe tells Agnes, instead of trying to cure her illness, I'm going to insert you into this thing called the framework. I'm now trying to cure death. That's what he tells her at first.
Right.
And then she comes to his car, and then Coulson and Mac are tracking her down to try to see if she can, she's going to lead them to Radcliffe. So, yeah, Radcliffe talks about like inserting Agnes into the framework, this virtual world that he and Ada created. So Agnes is like, well, I guess that kind of sounds better.
Right.
Than what I'm going through because, hey, dying of terminal cancer sucks.
Right.
So she gets rid of the earpiece, and then it's like, okay, I'm Team Radcliffe again.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is that she never really got over him.
I think that's part of it, but I think she's also looking for a painless way out.
Mm-hmm. And that's what she got.
Yeah, what she gets because, they end up uploading her, of course, and that's of course when she checks out.
Right.
And then Radcliffe's all like, well, she'll always be in the framework.
Now, can I postulate something?
Yeah.
First of all, never introduce Ada, who now has emotions and feelings,
right,
to the person that you were in love with,
right,
and based her on. Never do that.
Yeah, because if you notice, Ada was really jealous of her the person that inspired her.
Right.
So she ends up taking off her necklace after she checks out. It's like, this is my necklace now, bitch.
Right. And secondly, when your ex dies on the table, make sure to double check, because Ada was the only one that attended to her.
Right.
I have a feeling that Ada may have assisted with that suicide. If you know what I'm saying.
Accelerated the process, is that what you're saying?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. So,
I think she did.
Yep.
And also,
but here's what I'm wondering though. Okay, if Agnes is in the framework and May is in the framework,
they're gonna work together.
I'm kind of wondering.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the episode, we do see May starting to stir a little bit. Mm-hmm. So hopefully she finally gets out of that thing, because I'm tired of her being
Me too.
Trapped.
Me too.
I want the real May back kicking ass already.
Well, there has to be a reason why Coulson told her about May.
Yeah.
Because he told her name and everything. Also, we have to mention the part at the beginning where he and Radcliffe and Ada are talking about how the Darkhold that they acquired in the last episode has made the framework this never-ending thing.
Right.
Because the Earth is round, they've made it round as well. It doesn't have any boundaries.
Right.
So it's now indistinguishable from real life. So
it's the Matrix.
Right.
Yeah. We've created the Matrix.
It's going to be hard for anyone to escape it once they're in. And I'm guessing that's how Radcliffe is going to go. They're going to trap him in there. And
you think that's going to be his ultimate punishment?
Yeah. He's not going to know that he's stuck in there.
You're probably right. And then they'll file him away in a desk drawer somewhere.
Hello, Moriarty.
Yeah. Or, like in at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Bum, 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 bum. And we have top men working on it. Top men.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you see it being wheeled into a warehouse in the middle area of 51. Yeah.
When a mad scientist creates something that is indistinguishable from real life,
right,
that's usually what happens to them, is that they end up falling into it and never coming back out.
Exactly.
So
irony, just a little bit. So, speaking of the Darkhold, we had this little bit I should probably talk about, where the superior, Anton Ivanov, and basically Ivanov got the Darkhold, and guess what? He tells Radcliffe, "Oh, I read it overnight."
Mm-hmm.
That can't be good, because we've seen what this thing does to people.
Right.
So I'm not liking the sound of that.
And what did it do to him? Because it does something different, right? Depending on what your strengths are or whatever.
Yeah, what you're more susceptible to, or whatever, so.
Whatever you learn, whatever your profession is. So does that make him like a contract killer extraordinaire or something?
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But maybe he will be superior after all.
Maybe.
So,
I mean,
or at least if that's how he sees himself.
Right.
Maybe it just brings out how you see yourself.
Well, you learn stuff too. Like for real, you learn stuff.
Yeah. So that's not good. So let's move on to explosive shock.
Yeah, Mr. Shockley.
Don't you know you're gonna shock the Shockley?
Yeah. Well, okay, there's many meanings to this explosive shock. Yeah. First of all, his name is Shockley, obviously.
Right.
But
a guy that blows up named Shockley, go figure.
Yeah, right.
He blowed up. He blowed up real good.
He goes to see Nadir.
That should be our sound clip right there, by the way. That's my tease there.
He blowed up. He blowed up real good. Yeah.
Yeah. He blowed up real bad.
Several times.
He went to see Nadir.
Yeah.
And the Inhumans, they have to have this gene, right, in order to transform.
And he's all convinced that because Senator Nadir's brother was an Inhuman, well, she's got to be an Inhuman too.
Got to nip it in the bud.
Nip it in the bud. Right.
So he uses the Terrigen on her to see if it'll happen, and lo and behold, Oh, that's the wrong one. That one. Lo and behold, that, and then...
Blowed up. He blowed up
real good. Yeah, exactly. So we end up getting a character killed off here.
Senator Nadir and her whole staff. Blowed up real good.
Blowed up real good.
And so did Shockley.
But he can reassemble himself. Fortunately for him, because that would be really awkward.
It would be. If your power was to just blow up once,
and then you're kind of scattered, but then you're like, what if you're like, cognizant about everything?
Ooh.
And as fragments.
That would be bad.
Wouldn't that be the worst?
It would be bad.
That would be the worst.
Someone just swept you up into a dustpan.
I really hope somebody puts me back together, because this sucks.
Yeah. That would be terrible.
That would be hilarious. All right.
Okay, so he blows up, and he ends up like.
So he kills Senator Nadir.
He goes to see what's his name, the superior dude.
Yeah, Ivanov.
And, he says that Nadir was the one who changed, and she exploded.
Right.
Instead of himself.
Right, because he doesn't want to be
outed.
He doesn't be outed as an inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
But he's obviously not very happy about it.
No, he is not. So he was in shock.
I see what you did there.
See, that's why I said explosive shock.
Yep.
And it was an explosive revelation.
Oh, I see what you did there too. Shocked. Yeah. So there's a later scene where the Daisy's team captures Shockley, and they take him to the Zephyr.
Mm-hmm.
Where Fitz and Simmons are like, "No, he blows stuff up." But
right.
So
they didn't realize it.
So they get him in that little container thing, and then
they
eject that, but then he blows up real good again.
Right.
And then he ends up like in the middle of the desert somewhere.
Naked.
And then there's, of course, a guy coming along who seems like really not bothered by the fact that this dude is naked in the middle of the desert.
He does ask him, though.
Yeah, he's like, what's up with your clothes?
Right.
Things happen, whatever. So, yeah, why don't you, you need anything? And, of course, he ends up killing the guy. Shockley kills the guy, takes his clothes and his car. And then he goes to a motel somewhere. And then ends up blowing up there, too. He tells the motel manager, you might want to leave.
Mm-hmm. And the guy runs, but I have a feeling he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Because he blows up the motel,
blowed up real good again.
Right. Yeah. Very soon thereafter.
Yep. And then there's another confrontation between Daisy as Quake and Shockley that she figures out, well, I can't prevent his explosion, so therefore I'm going to try and wear him out by making him blow himself up over and over again.
Right. She can force him to blow up by using her, that thing where she sends out an earthquake with her hand.
Yeah.
And it forces him to blow up, and she just keeps doing it over and over again until it wears him out.
Right. And then they end up, trapping him in this device.
Right.
That Fitz created.
Right. The Ghostbusters device.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, yeah. The light is green, trap is clean.
Right, exactly.
We did it. We had the tools and we had the talent. It's Miller time.
When someone asks if you're a god,
you say yes. Yeah. We could go down the rabbit hole Ghostbusters references for the next half hour.
This I will play.
What is this bizarre?
Yeah, shut up, you.
Because we cannot. Yeah. We cannot do that.
Yeah, okay. It's so tempting, though.
I know, it really is.
All right, so then newish kid on the block, of course, as you mentioned, is old Patriot.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey.
Now, can I just say something? I was disappointed that they were doing all these tests and that, he's now not being affected as much by the medicine and all that. And Simmons says to him, "You'll never be Captain America." And I was like, dude, that's not right. That's because he was Captain America.
He was.
In the comic books. He took over for Captain America at one point.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what? That's not even right that you would throw that in there like that. Whoever wrote this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Shakes fist.
Right. It's not right. They didn't have to throw that in.
It's just not right.
Right.
Yeah.
They could have said, well, maybe someday you could be Captain America, but not now.
Yep. Maybe if you train really, really hard.
Yeah.
And you don't die from the formula.
Right.
Yeah.
So
they do. There is a scene where, Jeffrey has to. He basically figures out. Oh, I'm like as you said. He's the blocker on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's trying to find his place.
Yeah. So he ends up in order to give buy Daisy some more time and help with the others. He injects himself with the super soldier serum. Runs toward the Superior's vehicles later in the episode. The trucks surround him, and then Ivanov and his men get out, and then they use cattle prods to subdue the Patriot.
Right. Yeah, he fights as long as he can until they take him down.
So is he in their custody?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was wondering about that.
He is. But it slowed them down enough that they could take out Shockley.
Right.
And,
so they get Shockley, and then the bad guys get the Patriot.
Right.
Got it.
And it's taking their attention away from everybody else. And he knows, of course, Mace knows that Coulson's really in charge of S.H.I.E.L.D. anyway.
Right.
So, and he's not an Inhuman, Mace.
No.
So,
but they don't know that.
Wah, wah.
Because the public story is that he's an Inhuman.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess they're in for a rude awakening.
Right. Yeah. So he's kind of throwing himself on the grenade.
Exactly. Because he's Captain America, just like Captain America did First Avenger. Oh, yes.
Right.
Let's see what it did. Yeah, okay. Sorry, my brain just went this year. Because we just watched Captain America, the First Avenger yesterday.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, again. It's like my fifth time, but yeah.
The Captain America movies are really good.
They're actually the best superhero trilogy.
I would say that.
Because all three of them are good.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say that about the others.
No, you can't.
Batman, not all of them are good. The Christopher Nolan Batman films, not all of them are good. Because of Dark Knight Rises.
Right.
So, you can't, the others, Iron Man, not the best. Cause,
only the first one I like, really.
Yeah, really, exactly. Thor, we've only had two so far, but
they were okay.
But Thor: The Dark World was kind of a dud. So so you can't.
The first one was good.
So Captain America is the best superhero trilogy, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
X-Men, not all the X-Men movies are good.
No, but they're. Yeah, I can't say that they're the.
Because the last X-Men, The Last Stand, stunk.
They were like this.
So yeah, and then if you did the newer X-Men movies with First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse was a dud.
Yeah, bad.
So, yep. They always tank on the third movie, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, except for Captain America. The third one was amazing.
It was the best. They got better with every movie.
Right. So
Winter Soldier was better than First Avenger, and then Civil War is better than...
And even if we're going to go to the other ones, the Spider-Man movies got worse as they went on.
Because Spider-Man 3 sucked.
Horribly.
Yep.
It's terrible.
And then Amazing Spider-Man never even got to a third movie.
No.
So,
and they haven't even started the new one, right?
Right, that's out in the summer.
Right, he's only been in...
Homecoming.
X-Men.
Yeah. Or Avengers, yeah. Or no, Captain Civil War, yeah.
Whatever.
He was in Civil War. All right, so yeah.
So Guardians of the Galaxy and Deadpool, I expect good things from their trilogies.
The Guardians of the Galaxy, 2 looks as good as the first one, but we'll see.
Sure does.
So that was a great trailer.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so a couple great trailers actually. All right.
Yeah.
So there you go. So I've officially deemed Captain America the best superhero trilogy.
I agree with you 100%.
Thank you. Evidence proves that.
Out of all of them, yes.
Yep. So far.
Right.
Yep.
And even if we go all the way back to the original Superman movies.
Yep. Superman 3, not good.
I still agree with you 100%. Yep.
Or the Michael Keaton Batman, no, because you got Batman Forever and Batman and Robin that weren't as good. So it's Captain America.
It sure is.
Hate to break it to you, but yep, Captain America is
I don't hate to break it to anyone. I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. It is. Okay. So what's your? I guess that's about it. So what's your rating on this one?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, let's go back and finish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before.
What is this bizarre segue?
Yes, we know.
Although I have to say, we were talking comic books, so
that's true.
I give it 8 football metaphors.
Okay.
Because the
Patriot loves his football metaphors, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He really does.
Mm-hmm.
I was noticing that in that episode too. I actually like this one a little bit better. I thought it was good, so I gave it 8.5 cattle prods.
Nice. Well, I liked it fine.
Yep, I thought this has been better. I thought this one was a little better. They killed off a character, so things are starting to amp up a little bit. So I wanted to acknowledge that.
One of the things that I have to say about this episode is I never thought I would hate a character that Parminder Nagra would play.
Guess what?
Nadir. But I did. I hated her, and I'm glad to see her gone.
Once she killed her brother and shoved him out of a helicopter.
It was before
it's
then.
I know, but that just pretty much iced it, didn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Arrow.
Episode 12 of the 5th season, Bratva.
You and I are of like minds on this one, too.
Oh, Phil Parrish really liked my idea of Mystery Arrow Theater 3000.
Yeah, I saw that.
So Phil, if you're listening, like maybe we should do like a separate episode or something. We'll just take an episode and just talk all over it.
Yeah,
and record it. That would be hilarious.
We totally should.
All right, so
I'll try and get my mixer back that I can play it so we can hear.
And there are so many bad episodes of Arrow now these days, unfortunately.
Yes, so many.
Unfortunately. So written by Oscar Balderrama and Emilio Ortega Aldrich, directed by Ben Bray.
Bad.
And yes, shame on all of you.
Shame on all of you.
We need the Game of Thrones. Shame, ding ding, shame, ding.
Even the directors. Bye.
Yeah.
Don't do it anymore. Quit your day jobs, all of you.
Yep.
Okay, so a story, Felicity.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was good. I like that one.
You like that one?
I like that one.
Old habits.
Right.
Because someone says a phrase back in the past. You have failed this scene.
Oh, right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Got it.
And then on the record, because someone says something. Well, someone's sleeping with someone and they have a tattoo that kind of gives it away.
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. I see where you're going with that. You were a little out there a little bit on those, but I get where you're coming from now. I got it.
Yeah. And Felicity, you got that one right.
Felicity. So we'll just.
She has her own list. Is that where we're going with that?
But yeah, you mean talking about the Pandora thing?
Yeah, is that going to be where we go with that? Is that she's going to have a list now?
Well, I think we're gearing up for Dark Felicity. She's going to go back into I'm the hacker, and
but is this? Here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
First season, it was all him with his list going after everybody. So now are we going to do it, but with her list? Is that how next season's going to turn out? That it's going to be all flashbacks to her list.
Well, apparently the goal is to make Felicity the star of the show.
Right.
And if you run with that premise, which is the way they seem to be going, because Oliver, if you notice, gets marginalized, Felicity ascends as Oliver is kicked to the curb.
Mm-hmm. Because this is her list, and this could all be flashbacks to whatever bad things that the people have done on her hacking list.
Right. Because she's got that new protege now, the one that really liked her because of the dark web.
Right. Oh. Did you get?
Yeah, I did get your email. Yes, I saw that. So yes, you were on the dark web.
Yep.
Allegedly.
What do you mean allegedly?
Well, no, I'm just saying officially I'm trying to cover to cover for you.
No, I'll say I was there.
Okay, I was just trying to provide some cover there.
But you could see because I even put that my face was.
I did, because she sent me a screenshot.
Yeah, I was on the dark web, and you saw all those.
So mad respect.
You saw all those things that were on there.
I did.
There's bad things on there.
Yes, there are. I'm sure that was just the tip of the iceberg.
It was, actually. I gave you a tame one.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Okay. Anyway.
I'm unclean. I must clean.
No. Wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. My eyes, and I'll grab the bleach. Must bleach eyes.
I went behind a bunch of firewalls to do that.
I'm sure you are.
Okay, so
you go Oracle. You go Oracle.
Is that That's what I was thinking. Is that her whole thing was that in this episode she uses that database to get the guy and to get the information so that they can unblackmail Diggle.
Yeah, they're basically they try to get that information so they can exonerate Diggle.
Right.
And so they can get that government guy off of Diggle's back.
Right. And Diggle ends up beating him to within an inch of his life.
Right, because Diggle is making as many bad decisions as Oliver did in the season 1. Diggle is the new horrible decision Oliver.
Right. And Felicity is the list Oliver.
Yeah.
So she is taking the people and giving them to Diggle, who is beating them to death. So the two of them make up for season Oliver, I guess.
Yeah, because remember,
that's the deal.
Diggle left his wife and kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's not making any good decisions right now.
No. He's protecting them.
Right. And there was a comment about Oliver needs some therapy. No, they all need therapy.
They all do.
They all need therapy.
Yeah. And Felicity's looking pretty evil, kind of, right?
I think that's the whole thing is, we're getting dark Felicity. Because,
she's doing this.
Yeah, she's like, moo-ha-ha-ha. Because at the end of the episode, that she gets a text from her hacker friend.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yep, to go ahead. Hey, just go ahead and keep using that Pandora.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, I will.
Right.
I have every intention to. And this is after Rory has showed
So when does the calculator show up, Felicity's dad?
Right.
Remember the calculator?
Mm-hmm.
Bad guy?
Or is she going to end up being calculator 2?
Yeah, maybe. Her dad dies and she takes over as the calculator.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, and Rory has just told her that his ragman outfit is not working.
Yeah. That's. Well, we're kind of getting in our head because we basically there's a whole sequence where there's this nuke and they're trying to disable this nuclear weapon. Okay.
And of course, Felicity is all freaked out because she caused that nuke to drop.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, well, I don't want to create another whatever the town was that she blew up.
Haven Rock,
yeah, because that was the town that Ragman was from.
Right.
So, and still kind of has a grudge over her against.
A bit, yeah.
So Felicity's like, well, no one's going to blow up another town, except for me.
Not on my watch.
So, yeah. But even though it's she's just going to blow up another town. So she tries to disarm the nuke, but guess what? Boom, boom, boom. Only speeds up the countdown.
Right. Isn't that what always happens?
Exactly. Cut the red wire, the blue wire. Cuts the blue wire. Oh, the countdown is speeding up. No.
Yeah.
Because augmented drama, manufactured drama. Yay. Mm. So Ragman steps up to the plate and decides, well, hey, my rag survived one explosion, which wasn't nuclear. So I guess I could take care of a nuclear bomb. What?
Sure, why not?
What?
Yeah.
So he wraps his rags all around there, protects it like a cocoon. Now, outside, you have Oliver and somebody else, I can't remember who. They see the flash of the explosion coming through the window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So apparently the Flash was able to get through the rags, but nobody else has radioactive fallout from that detonated nuclear weapon?
Right.
What? You're killing me, Arrow Riders.
I know.
You are killing me here. You could see a flash, but no radiation. Everybody's fine.
What am I doing?
You are hand waving. Big time. You should be going like,
well,
in this frenzy, waving both hands, going. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh,
yeah.
Whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah, but that doesn't show up on camera as well.
No, I know this.
So
that's why I was doing the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh sound effect. But yes. Are you kidding? Really? Really, Arrow Writers?
I know. I agree.
This show gets dumber by the week.
Thus my grade.
Thus my grade too. So, oh my God, I couldn't believe. I was just like, are you seriously trying to force feed us this?
I know.
So, ultimately, ends up. Well,
it could have been just a bomb.
Right. Exactly.
Right?
And that would have made more sense.
Right.
But no, it has to be a nuke because, of course, it has to be a nuke.
Because it has to guilt her out and have them have a storyline together.
So Ragman, after protecting the bomb and somehow absorbing all the radiation, apparently, he can't use his Ragman powers, even though those are supernatural.
Right.
So really shouldn't be affected by a detonated nuclear weapon.
Right.
Right? But apparently he can't use his powers, so therefore I'm a liability. See you later, guys.
Right. Except he's not leaving the team.
No, well...
He just has to take a little time for himself.
Yeah. I'm going to have a little me time.
Right. I'll be back, though. Don't worry. I'm not quitting.
Even Ragman's like, I can't deal with the show anymore. I got to get out of here.
Right.
I'm done. He just throws up his hands like, I'm done. That's it.
Right.
Walking
out. The storyline is the worst. I got to go. Too much Felicity, he said.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously, am I right? Right?
Yeah. More Dinah, please.
Okay, so old habits.
And that's his flashbacks to the Bratva and his
of course
modified hoodie thing.
So we get more of Talia. Talia's doing the whole like you have failed this city kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then because we have Oliver and Talia killing a drug dealer on Robert's list.
Mm-hmm.
So we have
and
that.
It's the drug dealer that supplied Thea.
Yes. Because remember, Oliver was able to go back and see that Thea's doing drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't talk to her.
No.
But he saw her.
He really could have, though.
Yeah, he really could. He said, Thea, I'm over here. I'm hiding in the bushes.
Right.
I'm not dead, so you don't have to worry anymore. And keep taking drugs.
Right.
Because you're depressed that I'm dead.
But wait another year and I'll be right back.
Ugh, this show.
I know.
I get exhausted. This show drains me. And I know people love it. I know Justina loves it. And so I don't want to criticize it, but it should be so much better.
I don't hate it yet. I got to say that.
I'm not hate watching it.
No.
I just it's so easy to make fun of. Again, the Mystery Arrow Theater 3000.
That's true. And parts of me are like, it would only take this, and this to fix it.
Right.
And it seems so easy to me.
Right. Me too.
How they could fix it. And that's what frustrates me.
I see. Yeah, it is frustrating because like we see the problems, but the writers don't see the problems.
Right. Well, they don't want to because they know that most of the audience wants to see Felicity.
Right.
And so if they want that, then make a Felicity show because
well, again, then they're catering too much to the audience that wants Felicity. They're catering to the Felicity shippers too much.
And you know what? If this was supposedly the Felicity show, then fine.
At the expense of logic.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is Arrow.
Right.
Make it Arrow. At some point, people are going to get sick of Felicity and stop watching it, and it's happening already.
The ratings are down.
I know. So I mean,
yes, it got picked up for season 6.
Yeah, because it's the anchor of all the other shows.
Right.
But
the ratings are down.
The people are vocal about Felicity. I get that, but they're not the majority of people that watch the show. No. And I really think that they're looking at tweets and stuff more than anything else. And I would really like to see it more about the Green Arrow.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we had that. We had on the
we
record.
have our team going. Well, our team goes to Russia first, and in this time.
Yeah, except for Renee Wild Dog, who stays behind to help Quentin because he's having an interview with Susan and can't handle himself in an interview because I think he's still drinking, personally.
I think probably. But Renee is really tough on him because he knows he's going to get hard questions.
Right.
And
he breaks down every time he talks about his daughter.
Right. He gets pissed.
Yes.
And Renee is...
Yeah, you're right, because he shoves Renee up against the wall, doesn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Renee says, look, I'm just telling you what they're going to ask. And he finally says, okay, I get it. I get it. And Renee reveals that the reason he changed for the better is because Quentin told him to shape up. And
right. Yeah, he basically kind of takes a bullet for Quentin talking to Susan.
Right.
So, of course, that's, Susan went easy on you, or easy on me because you, Renee told Susan about that Quentin helped him as a kid.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Then Oliver and the rest of the team, they go to Russia, and he meets with Anatoly.
Yes. They decide...
And Anatoly punches him.
You're right. And then Oliver and Anatoly decide to kill Gregor.
Right. Right. But he punches him because of the guy from the first season who...
Oh, that was in the flashbacks. I'm sorry.
Was it in the flashback?
Yeah, where they decide to kill Gregor, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, that's true. In the present, he punches him for letting that guy die, the bald guy from the first season. And, I thought that he didn't treat that guy very well for being brought for bros.
Yeah. Well,
because he said if you remember correctly, I think it was in the Suicide Squad episode, he goes to him and he says, you need to track down this guy for me. And he says, okay, but you need to do me a favor in return. And Ollie says, no, sorry. You give me something, I don't give you something back. And then it ended up that the guy died because of him helping Ollie. And I was like, dude, that is uncool. He helped you, and then he died in the process, and you didn't even do anything, and you didn't care about him or nothing.
Nope.
So Anatoly got him back for that. He punches him really hard in this episode.
Yeah. And then he refuses to help Oliver unless Oliver does something criminal in return.
Right.
But Oliver initially refuses, but then agrees to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He needs to.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but dude, make up for the guy you got killed.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So then Oliver goes back to Star City
and
immediately sleeps with Susan.
Right. Who notices the Bratva tattoo
and the scars and whatnot.
Right.
And Oliver doesn't want to talk about that. He's like, I'm not going to talk about that right now.
Right.
And then, Susan's obviously really interested in that Bratva tattoo.
And
then we find out later.
She sees that picture.
Yep, because she meets with her government contact, the guy that's been like, hey, I know what Oliver Queen's been up to. So he confirms that Oliver did have dealings with the Bratva before returning to America. And then he shows her a picture of a hooded archer that was active in Russia during the same time period that Oliver was there, just so coincidentally.
And he showed up at the same time that Oliver showed up.
So Lois Lane figures out that Clark Kent is Superman. Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So Susan figures out that Oliver's Green Arrow.
Vicky Vale figures out that Batman
is Bruce Wayne. Yeah, exactly.
If you want the real comparison, because this is actually Batman. Well,
that's true, because Oliver has to be Batman.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much what the deal is, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's... I think that's it, right?
I think so.
Can that please be it? Because...
It might as well be.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's... Because the deep hurting.
Yes, I'm good with it.
Okay, so go ahead and give your rating.
7 fur coats. Felicity wears this weird fur coat and everything to go undercover.
Hopefully it's a faux fur coat.
I don't care either way. I don't. They're already made.
Yeah. And I gave it, I'm totally in sync with you, 7 radioactive rags.
Yeah,
because they should be radioactive.
Yes. They should be extra radioactive now.
Yep. Rubber radioactive.
Yes. Now, can we go to something brighter now?
Hold on. Let's take a deep cleansing breath.
Let's do.
Just forget about Arrow. And let's talk about a good show.
A really, really good show.
Really, really good show so far.
Yeah.
Legion.
Oh my God.
The very first episode of the first season, Chapter 1.
Chapter
1. Written and directed by Noah Hawley, showrunner, who you may know from the TV version of Fargo.
Yeah, sure. You betcha.
Yep. I see what you did there.
So, you want my A, B, and C stories?
Please do.
Okay. A Clockwork Orange and Cherry. Yeah. Because they sit there talking about she doesn't like oranges over cherries.
That's true. Yep. Sid. Yep.
Yep. Freaky Friday.
Right.
They switch places and
switch bodies. Yep.
Blows up.
Yep. Blowed up real good.
Right. No, I don't ask the questions. He does, and that's I-E-Y-E because the guy's name, not the interrogator, but the other guy's name is I.
Oh, I didn't know it. I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Very clever.
So it's no, I don't ask the questions.
So he's like Mr. I?
Yep. No, his name is just I.
Oh, okay.
Not Mr. I.
Okay. Interesting.
So, yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is.
All right. So spoiler warnings right off the bat.
Yes.
We should go ahead and give you, if you haven't read the X-Men comics and you don't want a major spoiler, because we need to talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, we're probably. Oh no, his name is the I. Sorry.
Okay, got it. The I. All right. Well, that makes more sense. All right. So so I'll give you a heads up right now. If you don't want a spoiler, kind of fast forward a little bit. But so here's our spoiler warning from the comics. Our lead character, for those who don't know, that the show Legion is based on, is David Haller, and he, in the comics, is the son of a very important member of the X-Men, the founder of the X-Men, the founder, in one Professor Charles Xavier.
Correct.
So, in the comics, Professor Xavier and basically got it on with a woman named Gabrielle Haller, who ends up becoming like an ambassador, I believe, from Israel.
Sounds correct.
And
like I said, I didn't read it.
Yeah,
but
so
she's someone important.
But yeah, so David,
and she doesn't tell him.
Right. Yeah.
About the kid.
She doesn't tell him. So Xavier doesn't know about the kid until he's like a teenager.
Right.
And
he's
David
already had lots of problems.
Yeah,
right.
because of like in the comics that Gabrielle and David, they were out somewhere doing something for her as an ambassador or whatever, and there was a terrorist attack.
Right.
And apparently a very nasty terrorist attack, and basically David ended up becoming schizophrenic, or end up, as a modern term, dissociative identity disorder as a result, and his personality split. But because David is an Omega level mutant, each of his personalities has their own mutant superpower.
Right.
And he also has the tendency to absorb people's personalities, because he's incredibly telepathic, obviously being the son of Xavier.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's a huge part of his destiny, his legacy, is because, not only is Professor X telepathic, but he can reach out to other mutants.
Right.
He can detect them and stuff. So he's like that next level, sort of a similar
yes
mutation of
a new
this.
mutant, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because his first appearance is New Mutants 25.
Right.
So, little heads up there.
And created by Chris Claremont, right?
Right, and Bill Sienkiewicz.
Mm-hmm.
Sienkiewicz. So, yeah. So, But in the comics, he's got this really huge, spiky hairstyle. Because,
flat top.
Yeah, exactly. Sienkiewicz drew him that way, and it's crazy, but it matched. But obviously, couldn't do that on TV.
No, I like how he looks on TV.
But I like that they gave Dan Stevens dark hair. They darkened his hair a little bit. So.
Yeah. First of all, in case you guys don't know, he was on Downton Abbey.
Yes. He's Lady Mary's husband that ends up killing himself in a car wreck.
Yeah, it was a big deal when he died on the show.
Spoilers, yep.
Yeah, well, come on. The show's not even on the air anymore, is it?
Nope.
Okay. So he was on Downton Abbey, and now he's taking this turn on Legion, and he's also playing Beast in the live-action movie Beauty and the Beast. So
dude has some range, apparently.
Yeah, it's a big time for him right now.
Yep.
And I'm expecting really good things for him.
Yep.
His name's going to be pretty well known, I think.
And this is a really interesting cast they've assembled here. So they got Rachel Keller as Syd Barrett, and Syd Barrett is a nod to Syd Barrett from Pink Floyd.
Right.
So, who's been known to be a little psychedelic in their music. Jean Smart is Melanie Bird, who shows up at the end of this first episode.
Mm-hmm. And she is from, of course, Designing Women and other shows.
Lots of other stuff, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Aubrey Plaza as Lenny Busker, who's David's friend in the psychiatric hospital until she gets blowed up real good.
I hit it.
He blowed up. He blowed up real good.
A little slow on that blow up there, guys.
I hit it.
I know you did. I'm just saying that they're slow.
And of course, Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec, and she's pretty much playing the same character she played on Parks
really?
and Rec. Yes.
Because I didn't watch Parks and Rec, so yeah.
You should watch it.
You keep telling me this.
It's so good.
And then, interesting, we got Bill Irwin as the scientist, Carrie Loudermilk, which we haven't really seen a lot of yet.
Right.
But Bill Irwin, if you remember, he was like the flying man on Northern Exposure.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was also in that really great Bobby McFerrin video with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And Bobby McFerrin, Don't Worry, Be Happy.
Well, Bill Irwin has had a really long career doing magic and stuff like that.
But he can kind of contort his body a little bit. And...
He was in Pushing Daisies, and a bunch of really. He's very eclectic.
Yep.
I can't wait to see him more on this. I like him a lot.
And then we have Katie Aselton as Amy Haller, David's sister, who is a new character created for the show, because in the comics he doesn't have a sister. Right.
And he lived with her until a bit of an issue in her kitchen.
Right. Now, interestingly, I mean, a lot of people thought that she was David's mom.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it's because of that big bouffant hairdo.
Oh.
And the kind of really retro clothes that
dated.
Yeah, it looked really dated, so they thought that, well, she's his mom. It's like, no, it's his sister, dude.
They looked close in age to me, so I just assumed. But I think that's part of the atmosphere of the show. It's just so anachronistic and weird and psychedelic.
Because you're not really sure of the era this is in.
No.
I mean, I kind of think I was like, well, maybe it's in the late 60s, because I was trying to figure, well, if it's in with the movie continuity, but...
Yeah, it could be.
But we don't know.
They're wearing Nehru jackets and...
Yeah, but then you have all these government guys with high-tech weapons.
Who are wearing regular clothes and have regular guns, and yeah, I know.
It's really trippy.
Who knows? I love it.
Yeah, so it's great. So, like, we start off, like, the show, basically almost like the opening to Watchmen. If you saw the opening credits to Watchmen, where we get this, like, highlight reel of David's life set to The Who's Happy Jack, which, as I told you, is now on my iPod.
That opening was something else.
Yep. So he starts off with this really happy little kid, and then all of a sudden, as the years go on, he becomes more and more emotionally troubled.
Right.
And you see, like, you know...
They show him becoming a delinquent.
Exactly. Getting caught, like, in a police car, and then you see, like, the police car windows blow out.
Right.
And all kinds of stuff. And then he ends up... you see him affecting people, I think, with his powers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people get all depressed or whatever.
And even though we don't know what happened yet, you see the aftermath of what happened in his sister's house.
Right.
We haven't gotten that explanation yet.
No.
So we don't know it's his sister's house.
We get a lot of, like, out of sequence images.
Mm-hmm.
Like like the sequence where
things that get explained later.
Like he's having this telekinetic fit where stuff's flying around the kitchen.
Right. And it does end up being...
And it looks really cool.
It looks awesome.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and he ends up hanging himself.
Yeah, he tries to commit suicide.
Yeah.
But we're not sure if it actually happened.
No, not then, but it didn't.
Yeah, so he ends up, after that, eventually placed in the Clockworks Psychiatric Hospital.
Right. His sister comes to visit him and brings him, like, a birthday cupcake or something.
Yeah, it's like a birthday. And he can't have it because... So she ends up, like, sitting there and then picking at it, and she starts licking it.
Right. Just holding it.
Well, she starts dabbing her finger and, like and David's like, dude, that's my cupcake. What the hell?
But he can't have it.
He can't have it, so he might as well, yeah. So I thought it was pretty funny. And then Lenny's there. So he hangs out with her, and then
That's Aubrey Plaza, by the way.
Yeah, that's Aubrey Plaza.
And we need to explain her, though.
Yes.
Okay, she's awesome. She is, she's got henna tattoos all over her hands.
Right.
And those have to be applied, like, every day when she comes on the set, which is awesome, by the way. She always has, like, it looks kind of like a Walkman, but it's not.
Right.
A huge, like, radio and huge headphones, so she's always listening to music.
And they're like the old retro headphones, so they look like,
big honking headphones.
Yeah.
And she's, like, narrating things all the time, and she's super sarcastic. She's kind of sitting there. She's eating Twizzlers and narrating stuff, and David comes to sit next to her.
So again, Twizzlers, like a more modern thing.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Right.
And he calls them Twizzlers. So
his sister has, like, 60s hair, big bouffant, and then Lenny has Twizzlers.
Right. So she's sitting next to him, and she notices him looking at Sid, and she says, "Oh, we have a contender."
Yeah,
she's narrating it.
Because Sid, who is far too hot to be in an insane asylum or psychiatric hospital, excuse me, comes in. She's got her hair in kind of pigtails a little bit, and just that kind of like she walks out of the sunlight. There's this bit where, like, she's in sunlight, and David is just instantly smitten.
Of course,
with her, he's drawn to her.
Right. And she's walking around, and she is really avoiding people touching her.
Yeah, first you think, she just doesn't like to be touched, but later on we find out why she doesn't want to be touched.
Right. She's like Rogue.
Yeah, kind of. Only with a different power.
Right.
Like you touch her skin, and then you end up switching
places with her. Yeah,
actual bodies.
So, and that's Freaky Friday.
Yeah,
obviously.
It's Freaky Friday. We'll get into that.
But so they're in a group therapy session, right. And the three of them are all part of this group therapy session, and she comes to sit down in the group after everyone else is there, and of course, Aubrey Plaza's character is Lenny, is being really sarcastic and again narrating that's happening.
But I like that Lenny wasn't jealous of Sid.
No, not at all.
She's actually encouraging David to go after Sid.
Right, because she doesn't. I don't think she has aspirations like that.
No, she just wants. She's his friend.
Right.
So she wants to help him out.
Right. And she tells him, to go for it with her. That, just ask her out. Go for it.
Right.
And after they talk around in group, he goes over to her and she says, don't touch me. And he says, will you be my girlfriend after this whole conversation? And she goes, yes. And then it's like, tweet, tweet, tweet.
Well,
tweet.
She makes a deal. Sid does. She's like, do you agree not to touch me?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, yeah. Okay, I'll be your girlfriend.
Right. And then there's this montage of them doing stuff together, but they can't hold hands, so they're holding like a shirt.
Yeah, that was
They
walked down the hallway. Cute. Yeah, they walked down the hallway, and instead of holding hands, they have that shirt. Yeah. And that's their way of holding hands without holding hands.
I know, it's so sweet.
Yeah, it was. It was very Benny and June.
Yeah, it was. And pushing daisies again, because they can't touch on pushing daisies either.
Right.
So, there was lots of stuff like that, and them just, sitting in the grass, talking to each other. It was like a little montage of their relationship. And it implies length, that they've been there for a while together and everything. Right. And then, of course, it's revealed that she is going to get let out.
Yeah.
Which, not so good.
Not so good. But she also tells David that she doesn't like cherry stuff or whatever.
Right, cherries, or she doesn't like anything that tastes like oranges or cherries, but David loves cherries.
Right.
And he has a cherry pie, and he says, there's nothing better. I mean, it's just full of cherries. And she kind of giggles.
This must be where pies go when they die.
Right.
Sorry, Twin Peaks reference. I couldn't miss. I couldn't pass that up.
Yeah. Right. So that's why I put A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, so that leads us to Freaky Friday.
Right.
Where David decides, I'm going to make my move.
Yeah. Well, Lenny has to stall because she's about to get let out.
Right.
And Daniel's nowhere near.
Yeah, David.
So she has... David, sorry.
Yeah.
So Lenny has to stall and say, it's girl stuff.
Yes.
We have to talk some girl stuff.
Right.
And kind of stalls her before she gets taken out of the front door while...
and David's rushing down the hall to...
And he goes...
Yeah. And then he goes and he is like, okay, she's not going to be... I'm never going to see her again. I got to kiss her. So he kisses... Yeah, big mistake because...
Worst decision ever.
Yeah, so you find out that Sid's power is that they swap bodies like we talked about. So he ends up in her body, but she ends up in the body of an Omega level mutant.
Right, and has no idea what to do.
Which, incredible powers.
Right.
And she can't cope with it, so there's this big telepathic and telekinetic blast.
Right.
That just rips through the hospital and ends up killing poor Lenny.
Right.
She ends up getting fused into a wall.
She tries to lock everyone in their room. That's what the deal is, right? That she just doesn't get Lenny into the room in time.
Right.
And ends up blasting her into the wall instead. So, oops.
Yeah, oops.
And it just happens to be the one person.
Blowed up real good.
Who's closest to... David. Daniel. Because his real name's Daniel. That's why I'm...
Yeah, Dan Stevens. Well, ignore that. It's David.
Yeah, I know. Okay, David. So, yeah, that scene was something else. And I like, she's getting let out. Led out. And she's like, no, it's not me. I got to go back in there.
Yeah. So you had Rachel Keller acting as David inside Sid's body.
Right. And he knows that...
And he's like, hey, I've got boobs.
Right. I like how Lenny says that later.
Yeah.
So you were in her body, huh?
Yeah.
Did you,
Yeah.
There's a Farscape episode where they switch bodies.
Right.
And there's jokes about that.
Yes.
Which I love.
There are. So, and then once David ends up back in his body, but he's not where he was.
Mm-hmm.
He's outside now.
Right.
But now he's back in his normal body.
Right.
So he's out of the hospital. This is his way of getting out of that hospital.
Right.
And so he's sitting there, and he's like touching his chest. He's like, "Hey, what happened to my boobs?"
Right. I must be myself again.
Yeah, exactly. Which I thought was kind of funny.
And it goes back and forth between these memories and him being interrogated.
Right. And there's this whole thing throughout this entire episode where you're not quite sure what's real and what isn't.
Right. But I think it was all real.
Right. And one thing I want to mention, because you didn't have it on your agenda, so I'm going to mention this. We get the hint that there's more at play here with the mention of this character known as the Demon with Yellow Eyes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that.
So, and
he keeps saying that he saw this demon with yellow eyes.
Right. And every so often, that demon with yellow eyes is in the background.
Right.
He's at at the periphery of his consciousness, almost.
Right.
And there's a really creepy scene that I thought was really creepy. It's at the end of the episode where David's just before he meets up with Jean Smart,
mm-hmm.
and they're on that beach or whatever,
mm-hmm.
and there's a cave behind David. And,
are there eyes in the cave?
Well, yeah, you see the demon in the cave, and then you cut something else is going on, and then you cut back, and then the demon's gone, and there's and that whole cave is covered up, but it's so really freaky.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Yes, watch that.
I must have been taking notes.
Yes, but yeah, watch that. It's really creepy because he's just sitting there watching, and so here's the thing: demon with the yellow eyes, who looks rather overweight, and so I have to wonder, because this is the world of the X-Men. Is this now? There's a character in the X-Men comics, a villain with yellow eyes, known as Mojo.
Okay.
But Mojo has some things that kind of hold his eyes open, and he's got he's from this place called what is it, the Mojo World. I'm sorry, and it's this I want to describe it. It's kind of basically almost this really insane psychotic place that the X-Men end up having to fight and whatnot, and so
looks gross.
So yeah, basically he's this big, grossly overweight character, and he grins a lot. But this character doesn't grin here. So the question is this actually Mojo from the X-Men, or at least a version of Mojo? Or is it another X-Men villain known as the Shadow King, who was this overweight, insanely strong telepath that Professor Xavier met and fought with? That was his first encounter with another mutant. That was his first mutant enemy, Xavier's, and they had this big psychic duel. And he's kind of recurred in the X-Men comics over and over. So and it would actually make more sense to be the Shadow King because of his psychic abilities and being drawn to David, who's the son of Xavier. So it could be the Shadow King. So I gotta wonder if it's one of those two. But I think we're gonna get more. We have to get more with the demon with yellow eyes at some point.
He was in the animated version, Mojo.
Yes, he was.
He's
this kind of cackling villain.
Yeah, he looks gross.
He is gross. But the Shadow King, Amal Farouk, I believe is the Shadow King's real name. But I think it was Uncanny X-Men, the first version, X-Men number 117, I think.
Yep. Chris Claremont and John Byrne.
Yep. But he was this really powerful psychic, the most powerful.
Well, it makes sense if Chris Claremont created, because
Chris Claremont also created Mojo, I believe. So
did he? No,
he didn't.
No, created by Ann Nocenti and Art Adams.
Oh, that's right, in the Long Shot miniseries. Then
drawn by Frank Cho.
Yeah, then they got brought in because Longshot became a member of the X-Men, and that's how they first got encountered with Mojo.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Either one would be cool.
Yeah, but it's, we could be getting an X-Men villain, so that would be kind of awesome.
And by the by, you guys, I'm not pulling that off the top of my head. I looked it up.
She looked it up. She did her homework, but that's
Please do not.
But yeah, so I'm looking it up. I just thought I'd mention that because definitely.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, keep looking for throughout the thing because he just pops up these really creepy moments.
So he's following.
Yeah.
David.
Yes, he's watching. He's watching what's going on.
Gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stalker with the yellow eyes.
Yes. Yeah.
Can we call him Stalker with the yellow eyes?
Pretty much. But yeah, watch that scene toward the end of the episode. Go back and check it out.
I will. I'm going to rewatch it.
It's just this really creepy scene. Like he's lurking in the background as David's talking.
Yeah.
And you don't really if you won't see him unless you're actually looking. You see him, and then the scene's
pans and he's gone again.
And that cave is covered up with leaves or something.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just something's going on. So
yeah,
that was cool.
I do have to mention as well, and we can go back on topic in a second, but the interrogator's played by Hamish Linklater.
Right.
And he was on Old Christine. What is that show?
Oh, New Adventures of Old Christine?
Yeah. And I love him from that show. He was also on The Crazy Ones.
Right.
When I saw him on this show, I was like, oh my God, you look like an older version of the brother on the New Adventures of Old Christine. And then I looked him up and I was like, you are an older version of the guy from that show. So I thought he did a really good job. I mean, every time I see him on something, he's playing someone completely different. And he is really underrated. So it was cool to see him in this.
That is cool. So you want to talk about No, I Don't Ask the Questions?
If you want, since that's him. And ouch, my cheek hurts. That's all I can say.
Okay, got it.
Because he put a pen through
Right, that's true, he did. Yeah, because as David's sitting in this interrogation room, he has a little telekinetic fit, and he sends the pen through this guy's cheek.
Right, the interrogator's cheek. Gross.
Ow.
He doesn't treat them very nicely, but then they are not treating him very nicely either.
Right.
They bring him food, and then the eye sits there across from him, and he's like, "Can I eat by myself?" And the guy's like, "Whatever." And he gets up.
Then they take him to they hook him up to electric cables in a swimming pool.
Yep.
They hook David up, and they basically said, "I want to know where Sid is."
Right. Well, this is once they drop the pretense.
Right.
The first part is them trying to convince him that none of that stuff happened at the Clockwork Asylum or whatever. They're trying to tell him, "Oh no, Sid never existed. That's all a figment of your imagination. Clockwork never existed."
But David's not buying it.
No, he's not buying it. And for some reason, they had other people there, and I guess they were like a big government agency. Is that the deal?
Supposedly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then they move him to the pool and they say, we could turn this on if you want.
Yeah. And
I don't think David is really incredibly scared by that.
No, he's not.
No.
No, and he's got Lenny in his head advising him.
Right.
About what to do. He's like, hey, just kind of slip under the water there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And don't come back up until I tell you.
Right. So they end up turning on the juice in the water, but David gets out of there.
Right.
And then some other guys end up, the soldiers that are surrounding the pool end up electrocuted and charred. So you see all these charred corpses going into the pool. Right. All extra crispy.
Right. And then Sid shows up with a guy and a girl, and she's holding out her hand.
Right.
Which is gloved.
Yes.
And she takes his hand, and he tries to hug her, and she's like, oh, no, because their faces would touch.
Right.
And she says, no, you can't touch me. And he's glad to see her, and he still, every once in a while, sees Lenny in his head. And so she's going to be on the show still.
Yes.
Because
were you worried that once they killed off Lenny that we're not going to, you were like, that's it for Aubrey Plaza, that's it?
Kind of, but I knew that they had cast her in a main role.
Right.
So I wondered if she was going to come back as like someone resurrected or whether she was going to just be killed off or what. But this is a nice surprise that she's going to be like this weird consciousness thing.
Yeah, so basically she's like Head Lenny.
Right, which is fine with me.
Right.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So yeah, I love this.
Yeah.
And the tone of it, and it's so bright.
Right.
It looks Technicolor. I mean, it's amazing. The way everything's set, it's directed, the way that like things slow down or speed up, and the camera angles, and
it's very artistic.
Very artistic,
like,
cinematic.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you like comics at all or anything offbeat, you need to watch the show.
It's definitely like if you're expecting an X-Men TV show, this is not an X-Men TV show.
No.
It's if you watch the X-Men movies and you're expecting that, no, this is not the case. Mm-hmm. But this is something better.
Yes.
Because it raises the game.
Right. I agree. This is, I would say...
Legion's that kind of character. It's like, he's not your typical X-Man.
If you like Guardians of the Galaxy, you will like this.
You think?
Yeah. Because I think this is just as offbeat.
Yeah, it is definitely offbeat.
And
because even there's like one sequence where they're doing like a Bollywood dance.
Yeah. Yeah. But they do things like that in facilities where they have little dances and stuff.
Yeah.
The characters have personalities, like huge personalities, like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
So there's that. I mean, I'm not saying it is Guardians of the Galaxy, but it has similarities to that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd compare it more to that type of movie.
Now, I know this first episode, at least, was some people found it hard to follow. And I have to say that, like, I posted this on Twitter that it's challenging your brain a little bit.
Right.
I mean, God forbid somebody challenges your brain.
Right.
Right? I know a lot of people don't want that. But just
be ready to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't something that you're going to sit there, I'm just going to like look at my phone and kind of look up and try to follow what's going on.
Cross your legs, sit down, watch it.
Actually watch the show, guys.
Right. Right.
You
okay.
Get into it.
Preacher.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Preacher's a good comparison.
Yeah. You have to watch this, and it's worth it.
Yes.
I didn't have to force myself to sit down and pay attention. I just did.
There's a reason a lot of the critics are like loving this show because it is like raising the bar a little.
Mm-hmm. So, it's crazy good.
Now we only get 8 episodes in this first season.
Still.
But, enjoy it while it lasts.
It's going to come back.
Oh, I'm sure it will be, but yeah.
Because it's crazy good.
Yeah.
So.
It was like the number 2 rated show on cable, something like that.
Yeah, so good. So what did you give it?
I enjoyed this. I'm not going to give it a 10 because I want to save that for hopefully a better episode.
I came so close to doing that.
It was close, but yeah. So I give it 9 out of 10 charred corpses floating in a swimming pool.
Yeah. I give it 9 retro Walkman type headphones.
Yep.
And I said I almost went higher here. And for the same reason you did, I want to give myself a little wiggle room. But man, it was so good.
It was a very, very strong opening.
I haven't felt this excited about the pilot episode of a show in a long time.
What about the Preacher pilot?
Yes, that. Legends of Tomorrow,
right.
I was really excited about. Those are all shows that I would say, I had the same feelings. And those are shows that ended up being shows that I loved. So,
yep.
And
what I should point out, if you haven't watched Legion yet, but you're kind of curious about it, it's free on iTunes right now.
Excellent.
So if you want to download yourself a copy of the Legion pilot.
And if you have any kind of cable where you get FX, you can watch it online.
Right. But I'm just saying if you want to have it around,
you can download it.
You can download it, yeah.
Very cool.
Yep. All right. So, that kind of cleansed our palate of Arrow.
Oh, yeah.
I feel so much better now. I love that we ended on a high note. That's
good. Me too.
All right.
So good.
Yep. So it's great that Legion is on 2 hours after Arrow because then I feel better. All right.
Yeah, too.
So, do we have any Justina feedback this week?
We do. We have feedback.
Let's hear it.
Let me play it.
Welcome back, Justina.
Hi, Karen and Charles. Oh my God, monsters are for real. I mean, for real.
For real?
So, Supergirl was amazing. I loved the cinematography. I loved the score. It was just so exciting. I loved the character moments between Kara and Alex. I felt so bad for Kara after she had that talk with Alex. It looks like she may have decided that she can open up her heart and take a chance on Mon-El. And Mon-El has already moved on, or at least is trying to do so. But the way Mon-El looked at her as she was walking away at the end of the episode made me wonder if he can sense Kara's intentions and will possibly give her another chance to say yes. I loved the scenes between Jean and Magan as well, and the idea that Magan is going to go to Mars and try to change more Martians' minds and stand up for what she believes in, even though it's a dangerous mission for her to undertake. This episode gets 10 out of 10 girlfriends that understand when your workplace gets taken over by deadly aliens. On The Flash, I'm enjoying HR and Cisco the most and all of their interactions. I'm also wondering if Death is just going to keep pursuing Iris. The team is doing everything they can to change events so that Iris doesn't get killed by Saboteur in 5 months, but Iris is a little bit reckless because she feels like she's somewhat invincible till the predetermined time of her death is upon her. And I wonder if the team trying to change the timeline will ultimately cause Iris's death in a different way, change the manner of death but not the fate itself. I hope not. I don't want Iris to die. Does anyone else start singing Let It Go in their head when they see Caitlin and her snowflake necklace? I did it again this episode when she took off her necklace to freeze Iris's arms because she had to let go and use her power to help save Iris. And oh my gosh, Gorilla City, I'm so excited. This episode gets 8 out of 10. Put me in for a few Lincolns. Legends had the best monologue ever.
Right?
I love that Rory
Sure
saved
did.
the American Revolution. There was interesting foreshadowing at the beginning of the episode when Sarah was giving Gideon a hard time for not calculating the amulet fast enough. And Gideon said that she could calculate faster if she turned off life support. And then later in the episode, Sarah was nearly dead due to life support being off. At the beginning, I thought that comment was so inconsequential. I had no idea it was a foreshadowing. But since the White Canary is my absolute favorite, I spent half this episode absolutely in a state of panic. Jax did a wonderful acting job in this episode. The way he just kept saying, "But it's Sarah! It's Sarah!" And Rip, too. That actor was acting so cold.
Arthur Darvill.
I got stuck in Adam's size for a moment. So when I saw that rat being about as big as a saber-toothed tiger, I was like, what's going on here? And then I was like, oh yeah, he's the size of an atom. It was a really cool segment. This episode gets 10 out of 10. Christmas episodes in February, but I don't even care. I loved it. And Arrow. I had incredibly low for this episode because it's called Bratva, and I'm not that invested in the Bratva storyline while Prometheus is wandering around, but it actually turned out to be much better than I expected. I love how each member of the team played to their strengths. I'm starting to get used to the new Canary. I love that Dinah told Oliver that your past shapes who you are and you can't run from it. I'm glad that they're giving Felicity a storyline that isn't tied to her love life, but I am worried about the path that this character is on. I feel like she might get herself into trouble. I still really don't like Susan and wonder what's going to happen now that she's putting more and more pieces together. This episode gets 8 out of 10 angry Russian dudes. Have a super week.
Thank you, Justina. So, really appreciate all the feedback. Not sure if I agree with you on Arrow or not, but I respect your opinion on that. So, Karen's a little busy right now because she had a little accident. But she also got some cool stuff while we were listening to your feedback. So,
yeah, I got.
What'd you get? Tell us what you got.
I got Cosima,
which is awesome,
and Hook from Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, Cosima from Orphan Black, by the way.
Then I got a milkshake, which I promptly spilled all over myself and my desktop.
Well, it goes in your mouth, not your desktop.
Yeah, I know. It sucks too because I spilled a bunch of.
That's because you don't have a lid on that. Where's the lid?
I did have a lid on it. Lid came off. I think that was the problem.
Maybe. Anyway, so yeah.
I'll be fixing that later, but I had to get the big part of it off.
No problem. So it happens. So, all right. So I think that about does it for the Fandom Zone this week. So you guys, if you want to reach us like Justina did, give us some feedback because we'd love to hear it. Well, you could get a hold of us on the Twitter machine at Fandom Zone Cast, or you can reach us on Facebook at the Fandom Zone Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And please give us a rating on iTunes. That would be awesome. Or you could drop us a line at fandomzonecast@gmail.com.
That is correct. And where can they reach you?
You can reach me at the Twitter machine on @CharlesSkaggs, or the Instagram @CharlesSkaggs, coincidentally enough. Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus.
Yay!
Facebook, of course. And my blog of geeky things, Damn Good Coffee and Hot.
It's taking forever. I'm sorry. I hit it.
We're on delay. It's thinking about it.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
I don't know what is up with this tablet. Maybe it's dying.
Maybe it's just there's so much going on.
Yeah, maybe. It doesn't like my milkshake having spilled.
Is that what happens when you bring your milkshake to the yard?
It does. All the boys come. There's nothing I can do.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Anyway, find his blog because it's awesome.
Yeah, where I talk about all these shows and more. And, of course, my other two podcasts.
And hot.
Yes, there you go. Like Twin Peaks, Ghost with the Twin Peaks podcast. And Next Stop Everywhere, the Doctor Who podcast, which we're coming up on episode 75. And Karen has been kind enough to agree to join Jesse and me for episode 75 of the Fandom Zone podcast, where we're going to talk about the androids of Tara. So if you're an old school Tom Baker fan, please check that out. And you get to hear the Fandom Zone come to Next Stop Everywhere.
That's right.
So
where Jesse came and filled in for me last week.
Yep.
Now I'm going to go and talk to them.
Yep, and we're going to totally wreck the show.
Yep.
Because you and me together.
Crazy town.
Exactly. And we're probably going to be twice as long. So.
Of course.
Yep. So Karen, where can they reach you?
I'm at Elevaria on the Twitter machine, and there's a link in my bio to my blog where you can find links to all my other places, and there is a lot of them. And there's also a link to your blog there as well.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yep. You're awesome.
So if you can only remember my stuff, then you can find his stuff too.
There you go. Go to Karen's because she's more awesome than I am. So.
No, that is certainly not true. No. I am more OCD than you.
You're more OCD?
Yes.
That's not possible, to be more OCD
than me. It is possible.
Okay.
It is. I have a long and varied history in OCD.
All right. Well, thanks for special guest star Sean.
Yes. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I did. She got a little smoochy with her hubs.
Yeah. Well, he brought me Funkos.
And a shake.
And a shake. I have food, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so you better go eat it while it's hot.
Yeah, and I better clean off my desktop.
Yeah, it'll be a little sticky if you don't.
My mouse pad is all screwed up.
Nothing but the finest here on the Fandom Zone podcast.
Yeah, it's a chocolate milkshake too. So right. I'm really mad at myself.
Milkshake.
I know. All right, that's it for us.
That's it for us. So thanks everyone, and come back for episode 93 next time.
Milkshake, wow.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.